That should be good.
You're familiar with the feeder questions, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Should.
Okay, let's see. We're just rating on Red and Kai, it looks like. And yeah, Red and Kai.
Under the lights on the higher stage, a part of your life they can't take away, just like the blood running through your veins. Everyone's watching through your eyes. There's only two options: win or die. Win or die. Win or die. It went from a spark to an open flame.
Am I missing something?
Just chat, lobby chat.
Oh, there we go. They can have fun.
There's a power that's underneath, and you can't see it till you believe. On the edge of infinity.
Okay. In addition, the last time these two teams played against each other, Ban Rumble 1-2-0, with Red being the big carry.
Yes.
Everyone's watching through your eyes. There's only two options: win or die. Win or die. Win or die. It went from a spark to an open flame. Now destiny's calling out your name. So reply, ignite. It went from a spark to an open flame. Now destiny's calling out your name. So ignite, so ignite.
Real quick, how do you pronounce your name?
The AMO.
Amo. Okay.
Yep.
Can I call you Amo or is it the Amo?
You just call me AMO. The is just whatever. And it's Kyo Shirin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
Kyo.
Thank you.
Yep. You're slightly loud. Are they almost ready?
I think so. I think they're just getting their final stuff worked out.
Okay. We're going to...
Friday to restart it from there.
That's fine. We're going to... Do you want to just start talking about the teams then? We'll just go right into that.
You go for it.
Okay. I'm going to do a little intro and we're going to go.
Okay.
Welcome everyone here to the Advantage Galactic Division Finals. We're going to get started here. Coming up, we have two teams. Let's get ready to ban Rumble, and please repot Maokai. I am the AMO, the host for a lot of these things, and today I have Kyo Shirin joining us to go over the match as my co-caster. Welcome, Kyo.
Thank you for having me.
Keo, real quick, you played in this division a little bit and worked with Vantage on a bunch of other stuff, right?
That is correct. I played on a Galactic team 2 seasons ago, and since then I have consistently been subbing and coaching a multitude of teams in this division.
So you should be fairly familiar with their players, and that's what we like to look for first. Let's just do. I'm going to do a quick recap for the people who weren't aware of how the semifinals went. They were 2-0s by both of these teams. Please, Rupot Maokai is the second seed in this division, and they play with a very fast, aggressive style. Usually led by Ninja Blood, who, as you can see, likes to play a lot of assassins, whereas Let's Get Benny to ban Rumble also got a 2-0, but they play a little bit more methodical style. As you can see, Mayor Huevos on an Ivern and Nunu, kind of to support Rixay in his large KDA, because Tuba's usually, bringing a lot of attention towards the top lane. Just sort of jump off from there. Where do you want to go? Which team?
Well, let's start by looking at Repot Maokai. Working our way down, we have Herdis Leah in the top lane. She is known as the Alawi player, and she is a big fan of split-pushing bruisers and tanks. So she plays a lot of the Alawi, the Trundle. She used to play the Kennen a lot. She's currently been playing a lot of the Shen and finding a lot of success on it in Vantage. And that's actually a huge part of her team's style, revolves around her being in the split push lane the entire game and then teleporting in for the fights. Next off, we have Gundam Grimgird in the jungle. He is their hidden star, I guess I'd like to call it. He performs consistently every single game. I do not think I have seen him put on a bad performance in Vantage League. However, his name often gets cast over by the other more vocal members of his team. We have Ninja Blood 2 in the mid lane, and he is the flashy assassin player. He is well known for his Fizz and Echo plays. However, he has been known to pull out the Talia or Oriana on occasion in order to throw us for a loop. A major part of his team's successes in the most recent weeks have been on him getting solo kills in the mid lane and then snowballing that advantage into getting undefeatable picks in the jungle in the mid game that lead into overall destructive game that leads to a substantial gold lead for their team. ADC Kai is the ADC for the bot lane of this team. He's very consistent. He plays a lot of the mid-range mages, Lucian, Sivir, Ashe, and lately he's been showing a lot of favor towards the Caitlyn, which proves that he wants to just be safe in this bot lane. His bot lane partner down there is Stixencrons, who is our local Gangplank one-trick. His personal favorite champion is Thresh, and he has been shown to have the weakest performance of the team. When he's not playing Thresh, he's often stuck onto something like a Lulu or a Karma, and it has been shown that he is not fully preemptively reacting to the plays. His most recent Lulu performance was a spectacular disaster where I remember his AD carry kept dying multiple times while he still had his shield up or exhaust up. So I hope they can put him on something that he's a lot more comfortable on today. On the other side, we have Please Ban Rumble. Tuba's in the top lane, our local Diamond 2 Rumble main. Their team name actually derives from last season where Rumble was banned every single game against him, so they decided to just roll with it because they figured that wouldn't change this season. Mayor of Huevos is the jungler, and he is their local weak player, I guess would be a good way to call it. I have only seen him play Ivern and Nunu. This is not to discredit those performances. More than half of his ranked games are on Ivern, and he has a ridiculous KDA and win rate on that champion. However, I haven't seen him play or perform on anything aside from those very supportive junglers, and he doesn't tend to make very much of an impact in the early game. Gelati is the core of this team. He's been around here for a while, and he is known as a Karthus main. However, as of this season, he's tried to shift more away from that into more control mages, and he's been putting a lot of time onto champions such as the Kassadin, the Orianna, the Zillion, the Syndra. And I'm excited to see what he pulls out today, because he has been known to have poor laning phases against Ninja Blood in the past due to their champion pool matchup. Rixay and Big Bad Red is the bot lane for Ban Rumble, and Rixay plays a lot of Ashe, a lot of Jhin, a lot of Caitlyn, a lot of these like long range AD carries that keep him safe in the backline. Whereas Big Bad Red is known as a Zyra one trick, and plays a lot of these like hard AP mages. So he provides a lot of pressure, which allows Rixay to farm safely in the bot lane. I'm expecting bot lane in this game overall to be the focal point, and I expect that if any team gets a substantial lead, it'll be out of whether or not Big Bad Red and Rixay can overwhelm Kai and Styx in the laning phase.
Okay, that was a great breakdown of not only the teams but individual players and their styles there, Keo. While you were talking there, they did start picks and bans, and we've gone with Maokai, or I don't know why they freaking chose champion names for freaking team names. Repot versus Ban.
Yep.
Repot is banned. Lulu, Rumble, and Vel'Koz. Looking at the support there with the two bans, and then the Rumble, as you mentioned. Whereas Ban has banned Olaf, Echo, and Alawi, going towards Gundam's most played Vantage jungler ninjas, one of his stronger assassins, and then Alawi's most iconic pick. Coming out now is the Caitlyn, Lee Sin, and the Galio, all strong picks, and these people have shown productivity on them coming out. And then on the other side, we do have Zyra get Big Bad Red getting his Zyra pick, and Tuba and Mayor Huevos possibly could trade Gragas here. Probably that's a Tuba pick though.
I'm expecting the Gragas to be a Tuba pick. However, I'm curious as to whether the Galio is a pick for Styx or for Hertis-Leia, because I've not known Hertis-Leia to be a particular Galio player. She tends to focus more on the split push champions, and that just really isn't her style. However, the Galio W provides a lot of innate durability and is a strong amount of crowd control, so I wouldn't be surprised for them to give it to Styx and Kronz in this bot lane.
Now, that's an R pick.
That is an R pick. Okay, this is going to be interesting, because I have seen that Tuba has been practicing Gnar this past week, which is a great pick into Galio. It absolutely does fantastically in lane. However, this means that Mayor of Huevos has to play on Gragas, which I have not seen him perform on a non-supportive jungler as of yet. So that'll be a really interesting performance to see.
It's a pretty decent strategy to be able to flex the Gragas, make the if they were planning on putting Galio up top, maybe
just gives
to
Tuba
bait
a
it out.
favorable matchup.
Yeah. And Tuba is Tuba he may not be the currently highest ranked Vantage player, but one time he was the highest ranked Vantage player.
I believe he currently is, just barely beating out Double O Donger by 1 tier.
By 1 tier?
1 tier, yep. Tuba is currently ranked Diamond 2, and Donger is ranked Diamond 3.
And Ninja Blood going with his only non-assassin pick out of the mid lane on the Vladimir. Is that probably a safety pick? But Gelati's not much of a assassin player.
It's a safe blind pick, but I don't think they want to pick an assassin just because this team is really safe in picks and bans, and they really hate blind picking assassins because they don't know what Gelati's going to play. Gelati does have Kassadin in his pool, so if they pick an assassin like Fizz, Gelati can just pick Kassadin into it and roll over it. However, something interesting to note is Gelati is playing his first Cassiopeia game of the season in Vantage League. This is a champion. I actually looked up Ban's team earlier today, and I noticed that Gelati had probably like 6 or 7 Cassiopeia games in the past couple days, and I was wondering if he was going to pull it out for this. It's exciting to see it in the first game.
It is. To be honest with you, the Band's team, the only person, the bot lane is something that we've seen before in games that we've casted of them, but when it comes to the rest of the team, I think these are new champions for the top half of the map. That unfamiliarity, is that going to affect their team play at all? Because I know they're one of the more passive teams, or
I wouldn't say they're more passive. I'd say they're more measured. Like, I was watching their games in the semifinals as well, and what it was they were just building up during the laning phase, building up tiny advantages up until one mid-game team fight where they just exploded. And then once they got that humongous advantage, they rammed it down their opponent's throat. And I feel like this team comp is set up to do the exact same thing. Gnar should inherently get an advantage against Galio in the top lane just due to his range. Cassiopeia versus Vladimir is a pretty even matchup. Cassiopeia wants to scale to the late game. Vladimir wants to scale to the late game. Vladimir's really safe in lane. Cassiopeia doesn't really have too many issues dealing with sustain because she is sustain of her own. The bot lane will be really interesting because Xyrelution is very much a trading lane. They want to go in, they want to blow cooldowns, they want to back out, they want to reset. Whereas Caitlyn Karma is more of a poke lane. They'll just throw out harass little bits at a time, little bits, chipping them down, making the trades less and less favorable, the less time the other bot lane takes in between them. So I'm actually hoping to see the junglers head bot really early on in order to sway the poke versus trading matchup in their own team's favor. Because if either of those bot lanes gets an advantage, it would be devastating for the other.
Is this going to come down to Gundam's ability to put on early pressure? Kind of like we touched on a little bit, they kind of like to push the pace a little bit on the side of Repot, whereas Mayor Huevos, as you said, has played that more reserved, supportive style. And how's that early phase going to go?
Well, first off, Lee Sin has a faster clear than Gragas. So I'm expecting Lee Sin to go for a very standard 3-buff gank route. I'm not so sure if Gragas is going to do that. Because if Gragas does that, he'll be a full 10 to 20 seconds behind the Lee Sin, and he'll completely miss out and lose that 2v2. So he'll either have to go for a full clear, or he'll have to take an opposite path of Lee Sin, or he's going to have to do something different to throw off their mirrored pathing in order to not get put behind inherently.
Could he do a buff to buff counter gank and just hope that he guesses right?
That would only give him level 2, and he would lose out against the level 3 Lee Sin.
What if it's more of just to relieve pressure instead of to fight? I mean,
I don't think Gragas and Lee Sin going to the same lane is something Gragas wants in this matchup. Gragas wants to avoid Lee Sin in the early game. So I want their team to do a simple invade, just one to get wards down in either the top side or the bot side, and just get wards to figure out where Gundam's starting. I'm expecting Gundam to start Raptors, because that's what he's historically done, particularly on Lee Sin. However, he could change it up for this game. If they went in and they dropped a ward on the red buff and dropped a ward on the Raptors, they could figure out where Lee Sin started, and Gragas could start the equivalent buff on his own side. So if Lee Sin starts Raptors, Gragas could start Raptors or red buff. And then they could follow each other's paths, so that when Lee Sin ended up topside, Gragas would end up bot side. And then Gragas could either go for an invade to take some of his jungle, or he could gank mid or bot. and he wouldn't be affected by the fact that Lee Sin had a faster clear and getting himself topside.
Now, with the invade that you're looking for, does one team have a particular advantage then with the level 1s, or is it going to be a straight up duel?
In the level 1s, I think that it's completely even. Pretty much comes down to who's stacked better, who gets the jump on the other team. But when it comes down to it, I don't think both teams are going to stack. I think that Repot is going to spread out, get a simple 5-man layout, just to prevent themselves from getting caught on an invade. Which means that if Ban decides to invade as a 5-man, Repot would have their 1 or 2 members back off. Then they'd have their opposite members walk in and get the equivalent wards on the opposite side of the jungle, and they would discover where both junglers are starting.
Now the Gnar into Galio matchup. Sorry, just kind of take a turn here as we got the normal right into pause into custom games that usually happens in a lot of these. We saw a little bit of the MSI where Kennen was able to pretty much dumpster Galio every time that he got a chance. Is Gnar's range is slightly shorter than Kennen's, if I'm not mistaken. Is it the same theory, just AD oppressiveness on the Galio?
It's a similar theory. They're both hybrid damage lane bullies with a prioritization on magic damage. The difference is when Kennen goes for it, Kennen is more oppressive early game than Gnar is. And Kennen's split push is a lot stronger. He builds a lot more offense AD.
Well, we see, Ban. Yeah, Ban just ran straight down mid lane. Looks like they were going to maybe try and do an invade, and Lee Sin was just standing there waiting for him. So
they weren't able to walk in and get that invade?
Nope. Everyone is seen. I think everyone other than Caitlyn at the moment, as the line of scrimmage hasn't been wards. It's just been people walking at each other, throwing one or two skill shots.
So yeah, going back to that top lane matchup, Gnar vs Galio, it will behave similarly to the Kennen vs Galio matchup. However, it is less in favor of Gnar as it is to being in favor of Kennen. The difference is, post 6, as Gnar gets later in the game, he can still use all of his abilities effectively. Kennen eventually gets outscaled because he doesn't build AP, so his ultimate essentially becomes non-existent in the late game. Whereas Gnar is going to be building AD and tank stats, so he's going to be relevant throughout the entire game.
And it looks like we have Galio setting up in the bush up here, waiting for Gnar to show up just to get a little bit of harass in, as both the junglers have started their wraiths for the jungle pathing. And do you expect just a mirror image, them going the opposite direction on their paths then?
That's what I'm expecting. I don't see any reason for them to do anything else. They're both going to do their reds next, and then they're going to do their wolves, and then they're going to do their blue buffs, and then they're either going to... I expect Gragas might recall because he'll be rather low on resources, and Lee Sin will probably look for a top gank. However, I expect Tuba to be prepared for this. He's seen this before. He's familiar with this pathing. He's probably going to get shoved in early by the Galio because he can't bully him nearly as hard as Kennen can, and he doesn't have the wave clear of Galio. So he's going to get shoved in. It's going to be really hard for Lee Sin to pull anything off in the top lane. So Lee Sin will either go for a scuttle, go for mid lane, or he'll go for an invade and try to take Gragas's topside camps.
And as we start a yet another pause here, I've just kind of let the directed camera mode take the early stuff going on, and it usually ignores the junglers because they're fighting camps. It does look like we have a slight CS lead in the favor of the Galio, as you just mentioned, but also the Lucian, and that Zyra has been able to help push up. They were able to get to level 2 faster because the bot lane had to help Lee Sin leash, so they had a longer distance to run. Playing this far back, sorry.
Something I find important to notice is if you switch over to their gold values by pressing X,
Yep.
you'll find that Zyra has a 40 gold lead on the Karma. This means that Zyra has been poking a lot more frequently and more effectively than the Karma has, which shows their dominance in lane. Like, as you can see, Zyra's just getting huge trades off onto the Caitlyn and Karma that they're unable to respond back with.
As we see, Lee Sin does probably look to be doing that gank that we talked about. He's going to come around with the ward hop, gets right on Geladius, pop the ghost early, just trying to escape here, trying to dodge back and forth, runs right into Gragas. Here he is for that counter invade, flash out from Lee Sin, and the ground does not keep Vladimir there, so he was able to leave it and flash away. So 2 summoners used on the side of Ban, and 1 summoner used on the side, or I guess, yeah,
two on the side of Repot, 1 on the side of Ban.
I keep
However,
flip-flop. Well, I was looking at Tuba for a second. I'm like, Tuba and Hurtis both burned flash in top lane. What happened? What was while we were watching the gank mid?
What happened top lane is that Galio was pushing up and then ran out of mana while the wave got cleared out. So when there's not very many minions in the wave, it's very safe to go for auto attack trades. Gnar probably was able to avoid the minions and got a nice boomerang off to slow the Galio so that he could just run up and constantly chase and chunk him with that the W.
There we are. So we see the poke damage coming out from the Zyra here, but she's going to have to flash away as Lee Sin showed up. Rixie was able to dash out of the Q range, not going to go down there. Gragas looked like he made a return trip to mid lane, cleared out a pink ward, so Ninja was safe on that end, who did use teleport to get back the lane, so both the top laners have used teleport. Ninja's used teleport. All the sums down pretty early here, but being almost 6 minutes in, but no one's died yet.
And that's something I find really interesting about this matchup is that even though both top laners used flash, they used teleport, I don't think either of their junglers are going to gank top lane. Ban's used to having a dominating performance in the top lane, so they never need to send their jungler up there. While
Hers never asked for ganks.
Well, she does, but Repot's jungler takes different pathings that often ends up leading him to gank Ninja so that Ninja can get that snowball started. And he rarely ends up heading up top lane, particularly with Hurtis on tanks. It's not as beneficial for him to go. He has decided it's not as beneficial for himself to go up there as it is to go to another lane where he can snowball a carry.
So as things start to get to, the almost the 10-minute mark here, what are certain plans? We see the first dragon is an Ocean Drake, and in the semifinals of a lot of the different divisions, we saw a lot of different styles of teams using the new Rift Heralds. Both of these teams, in fact, the semifinals, used the Rift Heralds to pretty good advantages for their sides. Do you see either of those favoring either one of these teams?
I mean, the Rift Herald in and of itself is a really strong buff. I don't think the Rift Herald in and of itself favors one team more than the other so much as it favors whoever gets it. Like, whoever gets it's going to take 1 to 3 towers depending on how fast the other team responds. Like, if you can get a lucky team fight around it, and then you get an ace, you can take out 2 or 3 towers and break down to their inhibs at 14 minutes. I've done it myself a number of times where you just grab Rift, you get a nice lucky team fight where you do a 4 for 0, and then you end up...
Oh, great body, ult there from Mayor Huevos, who stole red buff while Lee Sin was busy fighting for the Scuttle Crab up in the top half of the map. throws out the cast there, knocks Caitlyn towards the Zyra Hood, the flash, the snare coming out from her just to stay alive and in this lane.
Yeah, and that was an interesting gank because it seemed like there wasn't a lot of communication going into it. Mayor of Huevos threw out a rather nice explosive cast, however, neither Big Bad Red nor Rixey were prepared for it. So I think there might have been a little bit of miscommunication between the two parties, and that's what caused that to not end up in anything. Like, if they were on the same page and Big Bad Red had his snare up, that guaranteed would have been a kill on the sticks.
If we look at more training going up in the top lane with the tanks, it seems like Galio gets the much better trade in the very short term, but if the trade goes any longer than about 3 to 4 seconds, Gnar makes a huge comeback before Galio can get the spells up again, as we see Lee Sin back in here with the gank. It's going to eat the culling to the face. Going to kick Zyra back into his teammates. First blood over to Caitlyn. Zyra did not have flash, as we see Vladimir and Cassiopeia in mid lane going at each other. Double flashes come out, and Vladimir's going to take the advantage in the mid lane. And it looks like Gnar's going to go down to the Q from Galio. That is 3 straight kills for... Repot. Sorry, I don't know why it's butchering that today. And with those 3 kills, this is a free dragon.
Yeah, those are hard names. But no, that was really well done by all members of Repot. Not only did they get that first blood in the bot lane on Big Bad Red on his signature champion, they put that first blood gold onto Kai, who has been shown to be a consistent performer when he gets a lead. Again, in the mid lane, Ninja Blood versus Gelati, this is a huge matchup. It could have swung either way, and the fact that it just barely ended up going in Ninja Blood's favor because Gelati ran out of mana, I mean, that's going to be huge for lane pressure. It's gonna give Gundam a lot more jungle pathing options in this mid game, and it will probably end up causing Rift Herald to end up going in the way of Repot.
And it takes blue buff right off of Cassiopeia less than a minute after she got it from Gragas as well.
Yeah, that's big. Like, this early in the game, Cassiopeia really relies on having that blue buff for mana because she hasn't stacked up that tier yet. She only just has the Catalyst in the tier, so she doesn't have any combat stats to go with it, so she's going to run out of mana before she can actually kill anyone. This is a huge power dip for Ban's team, and I want to see how Repot can punish this.
So I just want to touch back on the mid lane here as Ninja's gone for a first item Ninja tab before Merc Treads, sorry. Before he's finished any other item. Now, I know there's some magic damages. Oh my gosh, great stun there from the Cassiopeia to stop any engage that was happening in the lane. That additional movement speed, how long is it going to take before Cassiopeia, his base movement speed, it grows over time, is going to be able to let her play catch up?
If I remember correctly, it happens in the mid game somewhere between levels 8 and 12. So at any point, Vladimir and Cassiopeia will have the same move speed, but as of yet, it looks like Vladimir has the advantage when they are out of combat, but once Cassiopeia lands a Q or a W onto
Gragas with the flash body slam in, and that's going to be a dead Vladimir to interrupt that point about the movement speed. Vlad had gone into the pool to dodge more of that damage coming out on the side of Cassiopeia, and Gragas, he just ran in that flash body slam ult right back into his teammate, trying to get the Cassiopeia back onto the same playing field. As well, Lee Sin just going to try and collect some farm tax here while that's all happening. The poke in the bottom half of the map, though, seems to be going slightly more in favor now of Karma instead of the Zyra. Is that mainly just because of the death, and now Caitlyn's got a BF sword and a pickaxe to the Lucian's Bilgewater Cutlass?
Yeah, primarily that first blood gold. If you notice, both AD carries have the same amount of gold right now. farm, but Caitlyn has the first blood gold, which gives her a full 300 gold advantage over the Lucian. She's really strong. Her single attacks are really strong. She decided not to go for the Zeal and go for the double AD items, which means her Qs and getting a single auto attack does a lot more damage than it would with the Zeal.
And Zyra's going to miss the chain as the flash has to come out from Big Bad Red to get, behind the Lucian, so she didn't go down to the ult from the Caitlyn. Lee Sin had made yet another return trip down here to Caitlyn, and here comes Gragas. He doesn't have ult or flash, just maybe trying to get some damage out. Zyra ult's going to come out, and it's going to knock up the Lee Sin. His teleport gets canceled by Galio as the mid laners are duking it out, as Vladimir wanted to follow it down here.
This is a really great turnaround from Ban. Like, they showed that they were really close with all those early game skirmishes and barely lost out each one. Now Mayor of Huevos is actually making his moves around the map and actually beating Gundam in a lot of these plays. And by doing that, he's giving his teammates the advantage they lost during those early all-ins. If you remember earlier, when the all-ins first happened, Mayor of Huevos didn't have his ult. He wasn't even in any of those fights when they got all three of those first bloods. So the fact that he's present now is making up for the fact that he wasn't there earlier and bringing his team back to where they should be.
I mean, we are, 0.1k away from each other right now at the moment as the farm trade is going to be traded back and forth here as we see some people returning the lanes and from backing. The vision control has been pretty well for both sides, but it hasn't advanced past, the river. There's scuttle crabs, the trinkets in the river. I mean, no deep wards yet, although we have seen Mayor Huevos do get a deep invade as we see Lee Sin coming in for another gank. The ult from Vladimir is there. They turn around. They cannot pick a side. Who's going to go after who? Gragas is going to drop the ult as the communication seems to have failed. Cassiopeia with the Ghost here, the run away. She's going to escape. No CC from Lee Sin or Vladimir at the moment. So Cassiopeia easily runs out of that one, with the top laners walking it down here to mid lane, and Galio trying to go in with just to land some CC. The only champion with CC. Now the bot lane is showed up for Maokai, and they're not coming. And there's the flash in from Vladimir, trying to get as much damage on the Cassiopeia. Not going to go down. Galio is going to finish that one off with a Q. But with all 5 members here for Ban Rumble, and only 3 members there for Repot Maokai, that's going to be way in favor. 5 is greater than 3. I learned that in first grade.
That is true. And it looks like they're going to go for the Rift Herald after that. And that's a really good decision, I think, because right now the most important objective to get is first tower.
And Caitlyn is taking first tower, but that is still at 50% health, so do you think Nara should teleport down here to try and save this? Or are they just going to fight it out again? It looks like in the by the Rift Herald, as the 2 players try to prevent the Rift Herald from going down, and is actually going to kill Zyra. The kill credit's going to go over to Karma there, as now summon up, and now Mayor Huevos is stuck because his teammates left him after they took
and he didn't path into the pit.
And Nar actually did teleport down to bot lane to save that tower, but now it's just Cassiopeia here to try and prevent this in mid lane, and now there's a 4v1 in mid.
Cassiopeia should be able to save the tower.
I don't think so. Lee Sin kick, and does get a stun on 3 under tower. Lee Sin tanked most of that damage, but Caitlyn's probably maybe going to finish off. I don't know if there's going to be enough minions. I think there will be.
Oh, that's enough. That's first tower. That was a good response from Repot. Because they got the kill on the Gragas, and because Gnar teleported bot, they knew they had the man advantage in the mid lane because their entire team had ran down mid initially to contest that Rift Herald take. So because they had the man advantage in the bot lane, they knew they could safely make that dive, and they knew that they could take the first tower.
And with the first tower going down and being up 7-5 in kills, CS basically being even almost across the board, slightly in the favor of Please Repot. They're up, 2k gold now, and 1 dragon, although that may be changing here in the next few moments.
This is great placement by Ban in order to set up ahead of time on the dragon. We don't see that a lot in any of these leagues. So the fact that people were there ahead of time and already had the wards down and were in position to fight for it before the dragon spawned is a great thing to see.
Now, did you see who actually picked up the Rift Herald buff?
It was Gragas.
Gragas. Okay, so he does have a timer on that. 4 minutes. So he's got another about 2.5 minutes left before he has to use that. What would be your ideal strategy now? It looks like the towers, when I just checked the healths, they're all pretty much the same health, so no one lane is going to be favorable at the moment anyway.
What I personally... We'll see after this fight. That was a great disengage by Ban's bot lane.
Oh, sorry, I was following the Gragas as he was going to gank up in top lane as Vladimir runs down here now to bot lane with the Protobelt, going to get in on Solution, who uses the Blade of the Ruin King for that extra speed boost and the dash away. Looks like we have the 2 tanks in top lane duking it out with the Rift Herald. Galio trying to CC it as much as he can, and when that CC, it does affect the Galio as the ult now comes out from, the Gragas trying to just get them away from the tower. Rift is actually going to drop without the tower going down, with all the rest of the people down in bot lane. This 2v1 in top lane is going to go in favor of Ban Rumble, and they're going to get the tower. But that was really hard fought by Hurtus there, trying to... she stalled that for a very long time. That could have gone much worse. Oh no, Lee Sin with the Q into freaking Cassiopeia ult.
And he trades 1 for 1.
1 for 1. He's going to go down.
Looks like Gelati's going to chase.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to get on. Did pop the Ghost. Caitlyn's in a bad spot now. There's the Galio ult. Galio's going to come in and flash out from the Cassiopeia. Is going to have to try and play some grounding here. Vladimir's going to come around the side, focus the AD carries. We're going to have to split this fight up. And the ult onto Lucian. Not sure if he's going to have enough healing. Pops his heal of his own. And Vladimir's going to tower dive this with the ult. Goes off 1 auto attack. Not going to be enough. Grog is going to come out with the Q. Is not 1 more shot. And Caitlyn should take this tower down unless Gnar is here. I don't think they have enough wave clear yet at the moment. Galio's going to go back in under tower. Yeah, but Gragas is going to go right down. Gnar goes in, ults 2 people into the wall, but Caitlyn's going to take down the tower as Cassiopeia is trying to trade the damage, but she's going to go down before finish it off, and Gnar's by himself, and 1 more auto attack from ADC Kai. That's a overall ace as Zyra's actually returned and playing super aggressive 1v3. You're the support, buddy.
And this game has just been bloody from the get-go. Like, the first 7 or 8 minutes were peaceful, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but since then it's just been fight after fight, and it's like, guys, come on. Give Ammo a break.
I'm all good. So we have some tower trading here. They've now increased their gold lead with the skirmishes and the trading of the towers to 3.5k over the 2 that they had. It seems like the aggression and Vladimir being quicker on the roam has been a real big impact on that, being 5-2 and 2, a part of 7 of the 12 kills.
Yeah, and this is something that's really stereotypical of Ninja. Is he'll get a lead from an all-in in the mid lane, and then he'll take that lead to his side lanes, particularly the bot lane. Being the assassin player that he is, bot lane's always
Tuba's in trouble here as he's going to get ganked by Gnar. He went back to top lane.
He just destroyed.
Yeah,
what was he doing there?
The bottom lane from
Ninja, what are you doing here?
Ninja blast planing out of there into Baron buff.
Quick thinking.
Caitlyn's going to start shredding through towers here. Does have the IE and the Hurricane. 4-0-2. 180 CS. Most in the game right now. ADC Kai putting on a pretty relatively safe clinic against what could have been a very harassy bot lane.
Yes, and this is something that makes me happy because laning phase has proven to be very hit or miss for Repot's team. However, when they make it out without going down 0-3, Kai has proven to be a very strong carry force for his team and is consistently putting out damage in every fight.
Now, getting to the towers, as long as they're, Caitlyn's the only one that's going to really be able to do that. Do you see, are they get more of a, we know Hurtus likes to do a split push. Ninja, I think, likes to do a split push as well. Will they go into a 1-3-1 comp with this? The double teleports?
I think they're going to try to do a 1-3-1. I'm pretty sure every single comp they put together is designed to do a 1-3-1, and I know they always call out to do 1-3-1s in their comps. However, it tends to fall through sometimes and turn into a 1-4, which isn't negative. Yeah. However, in order for them to pull that off, they're going to have to push up their lanes a lot further. Galio's ult doesn't have the range to go all the way from the middle of a side lane to the middle of mid lane. And in order for his split pushing to be pulled off correctly, he wants to be up against that tier 2 or that inhibitor turret so that he is almost guaranteed in range with his ult just by being in lane split pushing.
And Nar's going to be teleporting in before this fight even gets started. He's coming out of he's going into little Nar form as he teleported in. So this may be an interesting fight as we're going to be hitting the dragon. This may be the first 5v5 as we see here. We're going to go big screen, flash, 5-man body slam from Gragas, throws out the barrel. I don't think it really connected. And then Hurtus returns with our 4-man taunt as well. Zyra going to try and lay out some zone control. Gallo's going to taunt back, trying to get some damage reduction in onto Vladimir, who's going to ult in on the 4 members. Tuba trying to get on the Mega Gnar form where he goes down, but Gragas is going to go down first as we see Cassiopeia trying to lay as much damage as our 4-man stun on the side as Vladimir trying to get onto the bot lane there as Lucian's go over the wall, but that's not in the correct spot as he's going to go down as Gnar did not get able to get only one, and Q coming out, Lucian escapes. Zyra is dead, Gragas is dead, that's 2 down. Some great ultimates in that team fight. Break it down a little better.
Well, that was actually a really unusual team fight for me, because it started off with a great looking Gragas engage on paper, but all he did was disperse everyone. He didn't actually knock any of the enemy team into his team to start off the fight with a pick like a Gragas ult is supposed
Well,
to.
he did. It was Galio.
No, Galio didn't even get hit by the ult.
Didn't? Oh, sorry.
No, he didn't.
Galio had the flash in with the taunt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The other 4 people got knocked up and down 2 and 2 to either side of the river, while Galio stayed in place. And then Galio responded by taunt flashing into the enemy team and getting a beautiful 4-man taunt off. However, Galio, after the taunt, Galio Justice punched, and then he ulted himself out. So after both big engages from both teams were active, the fight still hadn't started. And the fight didn't truly start until Ninja Blood went in with his ultimate Tides of Blood Proto Belt combo in order to chunk 4 members of the enemy team.
No,
it was only at that point, when they used their crowd control list ultimate, that they managed to start the fight.
ADC Kai was able to auto-attack the entire time through the back lane, and what I kind of noticed is that Gnar had not gone into Mega Form and was absolutely chunked out, and in this position, he's got 2 magic resist items and a lot of health. He's got 0 armor, and by the time Tuba went to Mega Gnar, he was already at less than a quarter health, and he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even go use his ult.
By the time he was in Mega Form, half his team was already dead because of the Vladimir ult.
Now, Cassiopeia did get an excellent 4-man ult off, but the AD carry and support were both already on the other side of the wall. They had already flashed and couldn't follow up with any, responsive damage as well. All getting away from, like you said, that Protobelt of Vladimir ult. So, what can they? Is it just a little bit of positioning, or layering of the CC? Like I said, ADC Kai got the free fire at the back line. Without Gnar getting to Mega, and without a perfect or great,
What I want to see out of Ban is I want deep wards around the next objective that's going to be contested. Whether it's going to be Baron, whether their own mid tower is going to be sieged, I want wards deep around and behind Repot's team. And I want Tuba to sit in a side lane and split push. And then once Repot pushes up, I want him to teleport in behind. He needs to get that flank off onto the Caitlyn in order for the team to actually get anything done. At this moment, Ban is too far behind to tear through that Galio Vladimir before Vladimir Caitlyn destroys their entire team. So what they need to do is they need that Gnar to get into the back line, separate the Caitlyn from the team, and then have the Gragas separate the Caitlyn from the team even further. Then the Zyra can follow up with their Stranglethorns and guarantee that the Caitlyn is completely finished off before any members of Repot are able to come to his assistance.
As you said, looking at the ward visions, I quickly just did a double check on the wards, and as Ban, they have a couple wards, one by their blue buff, one by their wraiths, one or pink behind their red, and a pink being cleared out in Baron, whereas Repot has a pink in their bottom tri-bush, probably from ADC Kai from the beginning of the game, and about 4 or 5 wards scattered around Baron pretty well. Other than that, there's no real deep vision either. It's just that they have the control right now.
Yeah, and getting that control out is going to be really difficult. What I think they might need to do is walk up and after they clear out a wave, they need to set a deep ward right in the middle of the lane, like right where tier 1 mid tower was. And then they need to let it disappear from vision without Repot seeing it, so that they don't realize that they can get TP flanked from immediately behind them. Because they can't really walk into the jungle right now. There's not a lot of hard CC on Repot's team. However, they have just enough raw damage that they can decimate anyone who gets caught out of position. So they need to be stacked as a 4-1. They need Gragas to lead. Zyra's the only person with any real warding capabilities with her Sightstone and Control Ward in inventory.
Should you be looking, to have Cassiopeia and Lucian maybe switch over to Blue Trinket so they don't face check any bushes?
Lucian needs to for sure. It probably would not be a bad idea for Cassiopeia. However, if Cassiopeia goes for a Blue Trinket, the only places where Tuba can teleport to are wards he places himself or wards that Zyra places. And that doesn't allow for very many opportunities, especially if Tuba is in a side lane. That means that Red is the only person that can place a ward for Tuba to teleport to, which is rather limiting when you can only have 4 wards out at a time.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the other side, we still see Lee Sin with his trinket. I'm not a Lee Sin player. Is this just because he needs more wards to hop to, just in case?
It's a preferential thing. This is what I tend to do on Lee Sin, where you just stockpile wards and you use 2 of your wards for warding and you use 2 for ward hopping.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives them significant ward coverage, because by having the tracker's knife, you get incredible ward coverage, which is actually something that Repot has been lacking in the past. They're really good about clearing out vision, but they're really bad about warding themselves. So by having Gundam play this Lee Sin and have him take this tracker's knife, it gives them 2 people that can place 3-minute wards around the map, and that gives them a lot more vision control, which gives them the opportunity to make more correct plays due to the greater knowledge provided to them.
Now, we said Gnar hasn't been able to get off any type of split push yet, really going in his favor. And with the Black Cleaver and the Jarm's Fists probably going into the Frozen Mallet, that's what he really wants to do, is be able to control one of the side waves. As we get started here, are they going to have to change their play style? Is he going to have to go more team focused?
He's going to go team focused anyway. The Frozen Mallet gives 700 health, which is absolutely fantastic on a champion like Gnar that gets free defensive stats just by turning into Mega Form. Health is a fantastic stat on him, and it always has been. However, once Caitlyn finishes her Bork, he's going to need to start building armor unless he can single her out of a fight. Tuba is not expecting to split push against the Caitlyn ever. He's only going to be split pushing against the Galio or the Vladimir, which is why he's put such a heavy focus onto this magic resist. However, this is what tends to be what causes him to get absolutely deleted in team fights, is he can't deal with that Caitlyn damage as of yet.
Now we look on the side of the Galio, a lot more CC, still has a decent wave clear here, and is be able to push up in the 1-3-1 that we talked about a little bit earlier. And now Cassiopeia is stuck in a side lane, as it looks like blue buff has come up and both teams are going to want to fight over this. Gnar's going to go in onto Vladimir and try and trade. As the Protobelt actually I think is going to go right through Vladimir, and Q's come out. Lee Sin's going to go down to, and there's the bunny hop onto a minion. Great job. Zyra's going to pick up Karma. Galio's going to come in, but there is no one to follow this up other than Caitlyn, and Lucian's going to step on a trap. Cassiopeia's trying to land the ground. It does land one. There's the body slam, and it looks like Galio's just going to run body block here, trying to make as much damage out as possible to get it returned, to make sure Caitlyn is the one laying out the damage. Lucian's going to eat an ult to the back. This Caitlyn's really fed. Gnar flashes in, double stun out, has the bunny hop out, as we now see Gragas trying to come back in with the re-engage. I don't think that's the best idea, as Zyra's going to land some damage. This Galio is so tanky right now with only 2 tank items.
Yeah, and that's actually really huge, is the Galio making it through. Galio is, with the Maokai rework, I believe that Galio is currently the tankiest champion in the game naturally.
Uh-oh, Caitlyn gets rooted down by Zyra, and the all-in from Cassiopeia and Gragas is going to finish him off. Teleport now in from Protobelt. Ninja Blood assassinating 2 people under tower on Vladimir, as he's now trying to go after Gelati, and Gelati's going to try and get some return damage, trying to lay the poison, and the heal's not going to be enough for Cassiopeia to stay alive. And tick damage going to keep Vladimir. How much do we got, buddy? Vladimir was taking under 50 health. He's going to be able to stay alive, though. All while Lee Sin stole wolves.
And that was just a really interesting fight all around. That first fight went in Ban's favor so heavily because they had a 3-man squad walking around, picking off Repot members one at a time. First they picked off Gundam, then they went for Hurtus, then they went for Kai. They just went for everyone one at a time, and Kai wasn't there to supply the damage to put them in the position to turn the fight around. However, once Kai made it to the fight, the Kai Hurtus combo was enough to whittle down 3 members, kill 1, and allowed Vladimir to teleport back in on respawn and clean up the fight for what I believe was an even trade of 4-4 over the course of the fight.
Yeah. Now the next dragon has come. It is an Ocean Drake, and it looks like Repot says, yeah, we're gonna look at controlling our waves here. As Gnar pushed in the bot lane, Lee Sin gonna go and try and clear some minions out. He's gonna go Mega here in a second. As Karma is actually gonna go in on the side and has gone to Mega form. Let's see if Lee Sin follows his kick. Nope. Just some calling coming out from Lucian to lay this off. Galio has teleported into the back line here, as we're going to go back to his big mode here. And now the ult onto Lee Sin, but he's not going to be able to follow as no one keeps up. And it looks like Tuba's going to go out of Meganar foam, and that's not going to be good as no CC. Gallo's going to punch through, not going to be enough. Zyra trying to go off on the side and lay some CC. Plants the ult by herself, flash by Lee Sin to get around it, but 3 people did get knocked up on his team. They're pinging both Dragon and Tier 2 in bot lane here. Gnar's going to walk over, maybe face check. Theirs gets taunted. Lee Sin misses the Q there. Lucian and Cassiopeia, they're just going to back. They're not going to trade the Tier 1 in mid for the Tier 2 in top, as Gnar's going to maybe try and get some defense here with the Gragas, who throws a barrel over the side. This is not going to be enough. Ninja Blood going way deep under tower. Cassiopeia's back here with the grounding. Gnar's getting close to being back in uniform. As soon as they get the tower, they should back off here, and it looks like they do.
And That was just a very standard clean play. They had a huge wave pushing up bot lane. They got a pick on the support. They were in a better position to take that tower. There was really no reason for Ban to try to fight it. And I don't really understand why they're here trying to contest the Drake after it's already died.
Yeah, especially because Gnar just came out of Mega Form, and whenever Gnar comes out of Mega Form, as Lucian's going to fire off a full calling onto Galio, or sorry, Lee Sin, but Galio ults in to protect that damage reduction, and, you know, Big Red showed back up to the fight, and is going to die instantly yet again. Flash is being burned out by multiple players, same with other summoner spells like heals and ignites and etc. And with 5v4 pushing in, now they have 2 Ocean Drakes, so they should get some sustained here if they don't get hit with any poke damage. And with that extra heal, why are things pink?
Pink?
Oh no, maybe it was just a quick color error on my screen there for a second. All the minions were pink.
Oh, that might have been the culling.
The culling, the Lucian culling. Okay.
Yep, the Heartseeker Lucian has a pink culling that turns units pink when it hits them.
Okay, that's exactly what that was. I was very confused. I hadn't seen that particular skin in action. So we're at the 30. You know, it's 3-1 in Dragons. They're up 6K here, almost 6K. That gold lead has been slowly expanding about a half K every minute here on the side of Repot, or slightly slower than that pace from about the 10-minute mark on. There'll be dips every once in a while where they do something crazy, but Baron's going to be the next objective here. And
now this is a really nice pickup that I like to see out of the Galio, is the new item, the Adaptive Helm.
Ooh.
This is an absolutely fantastic item against DPS mages like the Cassiopeia. Every tick of poison does less damage. Every Twin Fang does less damage. It just practically cuts her damage output in a third because of you having this item alone.
now, does this work with? This is going to work with Lucian Qs as well, right? And the culling. That should work with the culling.
Yes,
so,
it does work with the culling.
Speaking of the culling, Lucian burns it on Galio and does absolutely nothing. And Vladimir going assassin style, Protobelton with the ult, and now Galio ult in return gets the heal, you know, does damage reduction, as Cassiopeia actually does take out Vladimir finally, but is going to drop him, or he's going to escape out this top side as Gnar finally shows up.
Has no mega.
Now, we know that Tuba is a great player and all, but in that he looks like he putting some games in on Gnar recently, it just doesn't seem like he and his team are familiar enough with hitting those Mega Gnar points that are absolutely necessary to play this champion. They keep seeming to fight right as he goes in, like right as he leaves Mega Gnar form, or while he's, you know, in baby mode, and it takes,
out of way.
Yeah, he has to build up for it, and it takes too long. As we see some poke damage go into the Baron.
Yeah, I think it's just a team unfamiliarity with the champion.
Now Gnar's going for mid as we're looking at this, and Galio's going to come over the wall. He's going to come over, and he smites it with the ult! I don't know if he's going to be able to flash out. That's well enough. Mayor Huevos, congratulations. You just stole Baron. Tuba, you just took mid lane tower. How much time does this give them?
Well, Baron lasts 4 minutes, is it?
But can they does this, you know, not only does it hopefully help them in those 4 minutes, but getting those extra 4 minutes, how much can that help them prolong the game? Another 5?
It depends on what items get built, honestly. I don't see a Locket out of Gragas or Zyra. I don't see a Redemption out of Zyra. I don't see a Knight's Vow out of Zyra. I don't see any magic resist on Lucian at all. If none of these items get built, Vladimir's just going to keep walking into the back line and one-shotting the Lucian every single time, and it doesn't matter that you bought yourself 5 minutes because it's still a 4v5. So I want to see if Repot can consistently get the Vladimir into the Lucian, or if Ban can find a way to keep the Lucian alive in spite of the Vladimir.
Now, Tuba's trying to hunt down Gundam, but he's got, you know, he's Lee Sin. He's faster than you, and he can jump around.
He has the mobility.
Yeah. And they've now gone for an interesting split, putting Lee Sin in mid lane, probably because he can get to lane so much faster, and because Ninja does not have teleport, while Lucian's been stuck up here trying on wave clear duty with the help of Cassiopeia, and takes a lot of damage from the Zyra. Burns another culling. Tuba down in the bot lane finally gets an advantage onto this Galio and gets an ult into the tower and another stun. And with the help of the Baron up minions, they're doing some fair trades as Galio is going to try and go for an escape. As we're going to switch back up to the top lane as we got a huge fight going up in here. Zyra's going to pick up 1-2 kills. Actually, all 4 of the top members got a kill in that fight, and we missed most of it as, I was too busy watching the top laners.
Much to watch.
Because I'm a top laner myself, and Gnar, Frozen Mallet, and Galio, that's not going to be enough. That Baron play is now going to be epic. Tuba has taken 2 towers in 1 tower mid lane, 2 towers in bot lane. It looks like they're going to get tier 2 in mid, and Elder Dragon spawns in 10 seconds. Can they take this tower and get Elder?
With the timers, yes. With the current timers, they can either crack the base twice, or run to Elder. They might even run to Elder after getting both of these inhibs, because they don't expect them to ignore the waves. Like, if you look, bot lane
Oh my gosh, 3 cannons.
With 3
oh,
cannon
jeez.
minions,
And
that means that has to be no less than 7 waves of minions right there.
yeah.
Which means that I think Ban is going to take the risk that Repot would rather clear the minions than challenge for the attempt at Elder.
I want to say that was excellent teamwork synergy from Repot. They 5-man blast coned into Dragon Pit. That is some top level play right there. So coming out on the side, that was a drastic turnaround. Basically coming down to Mayor Huevos stealing Baron, and then
getting a beautiful 4-man engage.
You tell us what happened in top lane, because the watchers and I were busy watching a top lane duel in bot.
Well, in top lane, the 4 members of Repot decided they wanted to recall. So they all ran over into this top lane tri-brush.
Into the top lane tri-brush, right?
That has the blue ward in it right now.
Yep, looking at it right now.
They all went up and sat in it. And they didn't realize that Ban had a ward in it. And they didn't have any preemptive wards to see Ban coming. So Mayor of Huevos literally just walked up, got a 3-man body slam into a 4-man ultimate.
Ooh.
And then Red threw down a 3-man snare.
And speaking of, we may have the final team fight here, as it looks like Repot's going to try and finish this one off as we see some redemption, but Cassiopeia is going to kill out the Vladimir before his ult's going to finish, and Tuba got off. Looks like hopefully a good knock, and Q's coming out back and forth, and that extra 2 damage burn coming out on the side of Elder Dragon. That should probably be the game.
It looks like they're going to try to end it. I mean, with 40-second death timers and Elder with what looks like a triple wave in the bot lane.
That's a surrender.
And that is a surrender. They didn't want to waste the 30 seconds it would take for Ban to end that.
So Baron took approximately at 35 minutes. In 6 minutes, they went from being down about 7k to up about 6k, and is absolutely wrecked face. Like, if you just took those 6 minutes out of this game, it looked like Repot were absolutely in control.
Well, and that's something you have to worry about with these huge scaling teamfight teams. Like, Gnar is a teamfight monster. He has a ridiculous amount of AoE crowd control. Gelati's Cassiopeia, well, while it didn't perform particularly well in the early game, like, no matter who you are, if you get to 5 items on Cassiopeia in the late game, you are going to 5-shot tanks and 2-shot squishies. Like, you're going to wreck people. And same thing with Red. Like, Red Zyra has double pen items plus a Rylai's. His QER combo probably did close to 1,000 damage on everyone when he threw it out.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to just hit the button here, and so we can actually touch base on those end game stats as we flip over. Now, Ninja Blood did end up being 12-6-3, but if he wasn't, late, he was going ham in all the time. And a couple times he got caught out is when they lost those team fights.
Mm-hmm. However, it wasn't particularly him that was getting caught out. It was more along, with the exception of around the bot lane tier 2, that started off with Gundam being caught out, and then after Gundam was caught out...
Yes, it wasn't necessarily him being caught out. It was someone on the team was in a poor position, and Ninja's style is go in.
It is go in. However, and I mean, it worked for him most of the time. Like the only times it didn't work were when one of his teammates got caught and died before anyone else joined the fight. Like there was 1 or 2 fights where Kai was never there. There was that huge top lane fight. Honestly, the big two turning points were the Baron steal, followed by that 4-man initiation by Mayor Huevos. Those 2 things single-handedly turned that game around and won it for them. That was spectacular shot calling on Ban's side to go from having such a huge deficit to turning it around and running through them with that temporary advantage that they had.
So, wrap this game up. These teams have played each other a lot. These players know each other a lot. Repot is probably kicking themselves knowing that game was theirs and they should have had it. How do you take a couple minutes, take a breath, focus up again, and come back for game 2? Because this is a best of 3.
It is a best of 3, and however, I'm not so sure if Repot is going to remember that. They have a couple players that are known to be prone to tilting, and I'm really worried for them because by losing a game 1 that they should have won so hard has got to be mentally devastating for them, and to know that they have to play 1 or 2 more games and have that negative mindset going into it is not going to be favorable for them and will put them on the back foot.
Okay, so it looks like they have the room set up here and jumping on over into that. So we are going to take a couple minute break here so I can rest my throat and they can get the room finished set up here. So we're just going to kick on some music here and we'll be back in a few.
should go to work, but I'll play instead. I gotta get gold too. Our first team fight was in champ select. What I get into? He just left the base with nothing in hand. And this guy lost connection. It's always the same, I'll do what I can. Why'd I even bother giving blue to this ride? I guess 5 deaths should've let me know. Yeah, everybody's losing lane while I'm losing my mind.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to jump into Game 2 here in just a moment. But as... we're still good?
I am.
Okay, super. I was like... It's like, oh, thought I was talking to myself there for a second. As we kind of touch base on these teams and kind of their possible champion pools for Game 2, what would you like to see from... We'll go with Repot here, as they're the ones coming off the loss. What would you like to see them change up or do slightly differently? I mean, they were winning for most of the match.
I would. Well, honestly, I don't feel like in pick ban they did anything wrong. I feel like their pick ban was fine, and they ended up playing out their comp fairly well. Their initiations were a little confused, but I feel like that was just some Game 1 jitters. Honestly, if the same pick and ban went through again, I think that the game might just end up completely different and end up having Repot win.
Now, Ban Rumble was losing most of the match. What would you change on their side?
On their side?
Yeah.
Let's see. Honestly, I feel like I would probably switch back to the Ivern. It was left unbanned last game, and it's Mayer's main champion. It's his best champion by far. And I feel like when they do that, and then they put Gelati on like Oriana, which I think it might have been banned last game, but when they get that ball comp, like even putting him on a Syndra, someone that can bully lane and provide pressure and initiation so that the jungler doesn't have to, they can put Mayer on the Ivern and then just have Rixay go off on whatever AD carry he wants, whether it be the Ashe or the Lucian again, or even something off the wall like a Jhin. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mayer's Ivern sometime this series.
Okay. Now, Big Bad Red, he played that Zyra and really aggressive, and he got caught a couple of times in bot lane, allowing Gundam with some good ganks, especially after he had burnt his flash. I know that's his extreme comfort pick. Was that just him being aggressive because it's, Zyra Lucian, or is that his style?
That is his style. Part of it is due to his comfort. He's like, I'm a Zyra, this is a Zyra Lucian lane, we need to bully this so that they don't bully us. Over his getting caught out was more of in the mid game when he was warding alone and wasn't with one of his teammates. Generally, when you're warding as a support, the jungler and the support walk around together so that the jungler can protect the support while the support clears and places wards. And the Mayor was never around red for any of that. So I placed that fault on both of them, not just red.
Well, this is just kind of what my thought process. We have Gelati, who's normally a relatively kind of a safe farmer. He does like to do his trades in mid lane, but for the most part, we saw mid lane, unless the junglers were there, be farming. Tuba never seemed to put himself in a position where the Gundam, as you said, his pathing usually doesn't direct him towards top anyway. But a lot of times we looked, and Rixie and Big Blood Red were pushing the tempo. They were pushing forwards. Now that may have been this lane matchup, but they seemed to be attracting the attention. And then Gundam just bounced between bot and mid maybe went up to get a little bit of his camps on the top half of the map, and as a result, that's where a lot of the mid-game kills came from, was mid lane and bottom half.
Yeah, and because of that, and because of how pick ban went last game, I expect a first rotation Karma out of ban. I expect them to grab the Karma in either the Gragas or the Ivern again, and go with that. And if they go Karma Ivern, they have a humongous shield comp, and they can stick Rixay on any hyper carry he wants. And they can put Gelati on a super powerful late game scaling mid laner. Then they can put Tuba on a lane bully, and they'll just be playing their normal style. And they'll be taking away Karma, which proved to not be a bad pick for Styx last game.
I don't have my phone.
So we're going to get into to pick bans here, and take it away. 1 second.
Okay. Right now, the delay on the bans from Herdislea is due to them not being sure if they want to go with the same pick ban. Even though early and mid game went so well for them, losing a game such as that tends to leave questions, and they want to discuss. The 7 minutes between games was not enough for them to discuss everything. However, it looks like from here on out they're gonna ban the Lulu, and ban is gonna go with the Olaf ban as per previous game. Herdislea responds with a Rumble ban, and Tuba immediately fires back with the Echo ban. So far, it's shaping up to be the exact same bans as last game, and there's the Vel'Koz. So, if we see the Alawi ban, as we do, this is the exact same ban phase as last game. Now, the question is whether or not they pick up the same first pick as last game with the Galley. With the Karma, I believe it was. They first picked Karma last game. If they stick with the Karma or if they go for something else here. And they're spending a lot of time thinking on it, so they're not sure if they truly want to go with the same team comp as last time.
They first picked Caitlyn, sorry.
Did they?
Yes. These are the...
Okay.
This is...
I'm behind you.
Oh, my bad. No, they first picked Caitlyn in game 1.
Oh, right. Thank you.
These
Well, they first picked Caitlyn again.
These are the exact same pick bans through Caitlyn.
And
Tuba
then,
on the Galio was like, I'm not dealing with this shit again.
Yeah, that proved to be a big pain for them. Like, even though Tuba had a somewhat winning lane, he got solo killed at 7 minutes. And it allowed Herdislea to essentially run around with impunity. There were many of times where she should have died, but she didn't, and I'm really happy to see this adaptation. They're going to keep Big Bad Red on his comfort pick of Zyra, but they're going to put Tuba on a classic meta OP and see what Herdislea has to respond to that.
Now, in response, it looks like Styx is going to get back on that Karma, but Ninja Blood going for Ahri.
The blind pick Ahri.
Now, I've seen him blind pick Ahri twice before. Both times, he led his team in kills and deaths. But they won both those games.
Yes, Ahri is a slight dispath from his regular 2 styles, where he either plays a super safe control mage or a super all-in assassin, and Ahri's kind of a hybrid of both. So he's he plays it well, but confusedly well. So, like, he doesn't fully understand everything he's supposed to do. However, when he does do something, he mechanically performs it correctly. Most of the time.
Now, Gelati's going to be able to pick up the Syndra here, it looks like, and Rixie's bouncing between a bunch of different AD carries. I don't know if we expect... Oh, that is a Xayah. Now,
if I'm correct, this is the first Xayah of Galactic Vantage League.
We saw one Xayah game in another division, and it did fairly well. If I'm not mistaken, the top half of the map for his team kind of got crushed. And when you have, like, I think it was like a diving mid-top laner and a jungler, and they just two-man dove the backline every time, and your ult can only protect you for so long on Xayah, so...
Yeah. That is unfortunate. And then Gelati's going to pull out Lysindra. This is kind of a classic control mage. We kind of expect that of Gelati now. It's a really safe pick. It's a really strong pick. It goes fairly even against the Ahri. There's not really much to say about it.
We're gonna see the new Zac.
Ooh,
And
the new Zac.
Nautilus. So
Hertis Leia is going with either the Nautilus top lane, or they're flexing it and they're going to go Nautilus support with a tank Karma top lane to deal with the Galio. I expect the former because Styx actually did a solid performance on Karma last game, and Nautilus has proven to be one of Hertis Leia's common fallbacks. It's really safe champion. It's really good at engaging, which is what she has primarily been doing on her team. However, this is the new Zac. I've heard from a number of different sources that the new Zac is actually borderline overpowered and is one of the strongest jungle champions in the current patch. So I'm excited to see this get pulled out.
now Zac is kind of, at least pre-Zac, or pre-remake, Zac was one of Vantage's most favorite junglers across, I think, most of the divisions. Now, I don't know if that's just because we had a couple of Zac mains and other junglers decided to pick him up, or the fact that he was such a great performer in team comps and providing that CC, or it was a proxy pick.
I guess we will find out shortly.
Yeah, I don't know sure why you'd pick Zac as your proxy pick, but we will.
It appears that Gundam Grimgird, the jungler for Repot, has been having some computer issues and has to restart his computer.
Oh, so
We will. I believe that that pick and ban phase went as both teams wanted, and there were no proxy picks in it. So, actually, something I do want to point out is Rixay has played Xayah 7 times in ranked and has a 0% win rate on it.
oh, well, this isn't ranked. This is Vantage League.
This is Vantage League.
So
we'll
Ha!
see. Maybe it could be due to the mechanical difficulty of the champion. It could be due to extraneous, unrelated teammate factors. I'm not sure. However, I guess we will find out in-game whether those that 0% win rate is representative of Rixay's skill on the champion or not.
now, what's the KDA going? Are we looking anything positive or?
For Rixay's Xayah?
Yeah, I mean, are we looking at like a
It's
2?
currently a 2.
Oh, never mind. It's a 2.
It's a 2. It's 7.5 kills to 7.5 deaths to 7.5 assists.
Okay, so
Bloody games Rixay is in.
I'm not a bot laner myself, so how does Xayah and
Caitlyn
no
perform?
no I was gonna how would the Xayah's jeez.
This is gonna be a fun
I hate them already. It's now just gonna be Rixay and Red because I'm not gonna. They're both red champions. Ugh.
Hey, Xayah's purple.
Xayah's purple. Fine. We'll have Xayah and Red. Or jeez, Rixay and Red down there, going at it. Now, you would think the snare would help set up the root. Is it a root when the feathers get pulled back, or is it a stun?
It's a root.
It's a root. So
they can respond with auto attacks and spells, but they can't escape.
yeah. So we could have double a snare and then a root into what? Like just autos? Like I don't know if there's. I mean, one person's gonna be stuck there for a while unless you know
One person's gonna be
Zyra's
stuck there for a while, and then Zyra's gonna throw up plants in her queue.
Yeah.
And they're just going to be taking a whole bunch of damage. However, if Karma is able to shield preemptively the snare or the root, you're essentially free from all that damage. And Xayah Xayah has incredible wave clear early game that actually comes close to matching Caitlyn. I'm not exactly sure who the lead in that respect because I haven't seen them played up against each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that Xayah is one of the more early wave clear champions that does really well. So I expect Rixey to go with like a Doran's Shield 2-pot start and then just farm up to that BF sword, and then once Xayah gets the BF sword, she's pretty solid because her damage scaling is rather similar to Callista's in the fact that most of the damage is in the feather return on the E more than anything else.
Now, my experience going up against the Xayah has been one of twofold. One, she does absolutely nothing. She roots me for 1 second, and then I don't care, and I just go through and kill her anyway. Or two, she one-shots me. There's no in-between. In the dozen games I've played against her, like I said, I'm a top half the map player currently, so I don't spend too much time in the bot lane. But that's my experience going up against her. Do you think that she'll be able to get to that spot where, I mean, she is going up against a Zac and a Nautilus and Karma with shields. I mean, Ahri can dash around. It's a pretty mobile, mid laner. It's not like a non-mobile mid laner. Is she going to be able to lay the feathers out and pull them in and deal enough damage?
I feel like she will be able to just because of the layout of the team. Gelati Syndra has an AoE stun. Big Bad Red has AoE hard CC. Tuba has the flash AoE taunt. What I'm actually expecting to happen is a lead off with either a Gragas body slam ultimate or a Tuba flash taunt into a Big Bad Red full team snare, full team ultimate, and Rixey will be able to just sit there throwing out feathers nonstop. And then once all that hard CC's finished, everyone that's still left alive will get rooted again by Rixey's feathers. So I really am scared for Repot if they don't get an advantageous early game.
Now, this could all be all for naught. Rixey could walk too far forward, get hit by Nautilus hook, then a Nautilus auto attack, then a Zac bounce, and then a Zac ult back into the team, and just be auto attacked the entire time by Caitlyn and die. So,
it's completely possible. It's all a question of whether or not Rixey can dodge that initial engage.
Now, looking at the Syndra versus Ahri matchup in the mid lane. Any real kill potential here? I mean, Ahri will have kill potential, but she has to set it up with the charm. Syndra has kill potential, but probably has to set it up, with some good ball harass into a stun, followed by the ult. Or is this two champions that are looking to farm it up until they can find those squishy supports and squishy AD carries, stepping one step out of place, and then pop, they're gone.
Oh, there is definitely kill potential here. I am, based off of how Gelati was playing last game, in spite of the fact that he got all in at level 6 by Ninja, part of that was due to how aggressively he was trading early. He expected to actually have the experience advantage. And I feel like Gelati is a lot more comfortable on Syndra, and I feel like he'll be able to play these early levels a lot better. So I feel like he's actually going to be trying to bully Ninja out of lane, if not straight out go for a kill. I know at level 6, it's actually really easy for Syndra to get a kill on almost any mid laner in the game. So if Ninja Blood doesn't go for like a double Doran's or for like a Doran's Spectre's Cowl or anything of that defensive of that sort, I would not be surprised if Gelati just like landed a combo, got like a flash body slam out of Gragas, just enough for her to land a sphere test of will, ultimate power combo, and just obliterate Ninja Blood's health bar.
Yeah, I'm expecting both these mid laners to at one point pick up the new Banshee's Veil item because, or is it the Banshee's Veil?
It's the
right?
Banshee's Veil.
Yep. the Banshee's Veil because of how much AP is in this game. Both top laners AP, both junglers AP, both mid laners AP, both supports are AP. There's only one set of AD damage coming out, and it's from the carries, the bot lane carries.
It is, and it's actually great that they picked Xayah for that goal, because Xayah doesn't need the Runon's Hurricane in order to deal AoE physical damage. Her passive gives her essentially a miniature Twitch ultimate on 3 autos at a time.
So it looks like we're going to be kind of getting back into the pick ban phase here, as we'll just kind of run down the rest going up towards the top half of the map. We're going to stop off in the jungle now. Mayo Huevos is back in on the Gragas play. Started off a little bit rough, kind of got outganked by the Lee Sin, but that was to be expected. Humongous props, being able to body slam ult smite that Baron for the steal, basically for the win. He's on it again. Is he going to go for the same impact? He's going against Zac, who's much more of that same, got to farm it up a little bit till you get to 3, 4, 5, get some points in that, elastic slingshot so you can jump around.
Yeah, this will be really interesting, because I think their clear speed is relatively similar. It'll essentially come down to who has either the better pathing or the better leash.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever does that will get the level advantage, and whoever gets the level advantage can make the plays. The one big disparity is at level 3, Zac's gank is incredibly lackluster because he has to put a point into his Q to help him farm, which means he doesn't have that second point into the elastic slingshot, so its range is incredibly low. However, Gragas at level 3 has all of his skills leveled up. He's not gated by levels as much as Zac is, so it's really easy for him to gank at level 3. So I feel like that's a high point we should be looking for, where Gragas has a definite advantage over the Zac.
One of the things I think that we'll see how good Gundam is on using the Zac ultimate. I have not seen I've seen it used a couple of times to great success, and a lot of times to no success.
It can be a little finicky, but as long as you've played Zac for, I'd say if you Zac ult about 5 or 6 times, that's around how long it takes for you to fully understand the timing and the spacing of the ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get there, it's really easy to use it exactly how you want to. So assuming Gundam's put maybe 2 games onto the new Zac, I think he'll be solid. I don't think that'll be too much of an issue.
Okay, and before I guess we have a 3-minute spectator delay anyway, so let's round it up to the tanks in the top lane. I'm going to predict their builds. 3 Dorn Rings into Spectral's Cow for both laners.
No way.
Oh my gosh. I think this favors Galio because of all the MR Galio absolutely wants. He's going to get it. What else is he? Eventually he's going to have to run into Caitlyn, but, he's going to need...
He has a W for damage reduction.
He's going to need Merc Treads. That's a lot of CC. He's going to get that. He's going to get Abyssal Scepter. He's going to get Spirit Visage. He's going to get... what a...
Then he'll probably grab an Iceborne Gauntlet, because that's a fantastic item on Galio right now.
Because that's all he needs. He may even... here's I'm a little bit lower elo. All these guys. This is a fun, dirty trick to do against this type of team comp. It's really fun against AP Teemo. Is your first item Banner of Command. And the AP Nautilus won't be able to touch it. Zac won't be able to touch it. Karma can't touch it. Ari's just gonna... it's gonna ruin their day in the split push situation. And Galio can split push way better than Nautilus.
I'd say in the AP matchup, yes. If this were in a vacuum and we were up against AD laners, I'd say Nautilus split push is better just because of the fantastic...
I was talking about this particular game, so...
But yes, in this particular game, if they end up consistently matching against each other, Galio will probably outpush the Nautilus. However, I don't think it'll make a huge difference, because Nautilus will just shield every time Galio goes for the wave clear and counter the wave clear. So I I don't expect their towers to take very much damage early at all.
Yeah, it's I mean, but this is kind of weird that you'd want to pick such a AP comp. I mean, I'm not sure what their thought process was going to the Galio, because that dam reduction late game with 4 MR items is going to be ridiculously crazy.
Well, their thought process was, we want the first pick Caitlyn. So they had to give up the Galio in order to first pick the Caitlyn, which allowed Ban to grab the Galio, which proved to be such a big issue in the first game.
It did, and do we check on Tuba? We know Hertis plays some Nautilus. I did not check on Tuba's Galio play, but it's been a pretty strong meta pick here recently, and he's a top-tier Diamond player, so I expect he's put in some time on the champion.
I see two games on it in Vantage.
Okay, in Vantage. So he's even played it in Vantage matchups. So this is something that, Ban or Repot
He's actually played it against Repot the last time they faced against each other.
And who was his lane opponent in that matchup?
Hertis Leia was playing pre-rework Maokai.
Pre-rework Maokai. Okay, well, that's another one where... Jeez. I love the tank battles up in top lane. It's great. I may be the only one. That's the reason why we missed that 4 for team fight, because I was busy watching the top laners in the bot lane. Just kind of where my focus went. So we are in game 2 here. For the people who have just joined us, potentially we got some new people here to stream. I'm the AMO. I'm the host of today's match and play-by-play guy, and I have today with me Kier Sheeran. Who has been absolutely
adequate.
I was going to say wrecking it with the knowledge and the information, not only on the champions and items and abilities and team play, but the knowledge of the opponents and the players and play styles, which gives a nice flavor to a good cast. So apparently, they're going to be pausing as soon as it starts, because that happens in every custom game here. But we're going to go down the teams once again here. We're going to have Please Repot Maokai on the blue side once again, with Hertis Leia up top on Nautilus, Gundam Grimger on Zac in the jungle, Ninja Blood 2 on Ari, ADC Kai on Caitlyn, and Styx and Cross back on Karma. On the sides of Please Ban Rumble, we're going to have Tuba Galioing it up in the top lane, Mayor Huevos throwing out the barrels on Gragas, Gelati playing with balls on Syndra, Rixey is playing Xayah, and Big Bad Red is playing Zyra and Xayah. Okay, so we have Rixey in bot lane and Big Bad Red in bot lane. Both of them got pinkish, reddish colored champions. So we have Plant Lady and Bird Lady.
We have Feathers and Flowers.
Feathers and Flowers. As we have Disconnection. What do you know?
Big surprise.
As you get going here, you talked about in the first game the goal, the plan of to do an team invade, to get in there, get some nice wards, try and track Lee Sin movements, and try and get Mayor Huevos a good start, and know where everyone goes. And then they butchered it and ran straight down mid lane and got Saul.
They didn't butcher it. That's generally a pretty good strategy, because if a person is just standing at the mid lane tower, they won't see you walk into that mid lane brush, and it's a lot easier to sneak into the banana brush.
Lee Sin was doing a dance right in the dead center of the map.
Lee Sin was standing exactly where he was supposed to prevent that from happening.
Yep. So, do you see an invade coming out again for the side of Ban Rumble?
I feel like Ban Rumble has no reason not to invade. Like their comp is fantastic for it. Nautilus has an auto attack and a hook. He has 2 forms of hard crowd control if they find someone. Ari can throw out the charm right then. Karma and Caitlyn both have insane level 1 damage. Like, there's no reason for them not to invade here.
Yes. No reason for Repot to invade.
To not invade. To
not invade, yes. Okay, so it looks like in this game, because Repot was the second team in the playoffs, whereas Ban was the first team in the playoffs. Ban in game 1 picked red side but in game 2, Repot has chosen blue side. Is this just a comfort thing to their team, or is this something where they're like, we kind of messed up the Baron play and we're just gonna rerun it? Or but they chose different styles
I think it's
here.
due to their. I think it's due to their draft. They knew that they couldn't ban out all the picks they wanted to ban out.
Mm-hmm.
However, by taking blue side, it allows them to get a pseudo 4th ban in because they get the first pick, which allowed them to pick Caitlyn, which is a strong champion for Kai and for Rixay. So by taking blue side, it gives them the opportunity to take away that Caitlyn and essentially make their early pick ban phase more effective.
Yeah, definitely can see that coming out here, as we're still waiting for the reconnects to finish up through here. In game 1, there was not a lot of action early on, just a lot of farming until we hit about that 7-8 minute mark, and then it was a little bit of ganking here and there, and then right after 10 minutes, killing bot lane, killing mid lane, killing top lane, right across the edge for Repot. Are we looking at the same type of style, or the junglers now are a little bit slower than the clears than the Lee Sin was?
I don't think there will be too much in the way of early game ganking, because Mayer has proven that that's not something he's particularly fond of, and Zach is not a champion that is particularly competent at doing the early ganks. He needs to be level 4 or 5 to pull off a successful one easily. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if Gundam went for a full clear here.
Okay.
And did like Raptors, Krugs, Red, Wolves, Gromp Blue, or Wolves Blue Gromp to get himself to level 4, and then he can be topside or mid. If he did that full route and ended with blue, it would actually be really easy for him to end up with a level 4 gank mid around 4:15. Whereas, we can see right here that Repot is actually trying to steal away Raptors so that Mayer doesn't get the experience advantage.
And I think Mayer is going to be able to get all of them here. It does look like he should be able to finish them up, and he's just a few seconds behind Zach on walking to red buff there. And the top laners are going to do some AoE clears, and what do you know? The Zyra lane's pushing in bot already.
That is actually a little surprising to me, because even with Zaya's strong pushing, Zyra as a champion doesn't have a fantastic level 1 push unless the seeds are set up ahead of time.
And the seeds were pretty much set up. She was down here. She was down here early because they knew that they didn't have to leash for the jungler. So.
Okay. However, still with a Karma, Karma should just mantra Q the wave and get a huge push response so that Caitlyn doesn't get shoved in like this. As you can see, they've already lost 2 minions, and Kai has had to chug one of his biscuits and is still down at half health.
Yep. And it's not looking particularly good. Now, the Xayah did actually go Doran's Blade. You said you were probably maybe looking for the Doran Shield in that instance, as we see, Gundam walk over a ward. Going back
I was expecting the Doran's Shield, but that's also because I was expecting the Caitlyn Karma lane to shove against the Zyra, which it did not.
Now,
so that was good forethought by them.
The junglers are fighting over Scuttle Crab. This is the most action we've seen all game.
Oh no.
Gundam wins. He had smite up.
Okay, so if you look at their pathings, Zach Gundam went Raids or Raptors, Red, Krugs, Scuttle. So he still has the entire top side to clear, whereas Mayer went Raptors, Red, Blue, Gromp, Scuttle. So he actually has a lot more spread out and less efficient pathing. So even though he has more camps down right now, he's taking longer to do them, so he will actually have less. He's ahead by experience. He must have soaked some.
Oh, Nautilus
He's looking for
being
an-
chunked a huge amount up in top lane. Lost that early trades with the Galio. Is going to have to back and teleport in. As Gragas went straight to and wins that Scuttle Battle, gets a ward in, hits the Vision Plant. Great job taking that away as we see the root go down on Zyra in bot lane. But the feathers fly back to red. There's Rixay. Crap. And they're on the red side too. I just want to put up a vote of protest against this team and say
Just call him Big Bad.
they're very mean. And Karma is going to get yet a root out, and it looks like she's going to go down the first blood, and Flash is burnt, and the heal. ADC Kai, I think, was not expecting that burst damage from Rixay on the Xayah, and plus the Zyra Q landed as well, all in the same second there. There was no chance to respond.
I don't even know why Styx went for that trade. He literally walked into a full wave of minions against two champions that had more than full health and all of their summoners. There was no way he could have ended that favorably, especially when he took Exhaust into an Ignite. That was a very poor decision from Styx, and I wonder what the communication sounded like in the bot lane
Well,
for that play.
oh jeez, and that's going to go right around and stepped on a trap, and he's going to have to flash, but Zac is here. This is a terrible Howard dive, and Zac's going to get a flash in, and looks like with the root, and probably jump in here. Zac's actually going to take that one for himself, so
That was a huge oversight.
kills traded
by Ban.
back on the side of Ban Rumble.
That was a rather confusing dive. Like, why would you even dive that? Rixay walked up, autoed Kai, and then stepped on a trap under tower. However, if you look in the top lane, Hurtis Leia has a huge health advantage onto Tuba and has shoved him out of lane completely.
Yeah, she all-in'd him as soon as she hit level 6, and with that advantage was able to force, basically he's going to have to try and pot up here, because her level 6 is a great help in lane, and you know, Gragas hitting level 6 doesn't really help him at all in lane. It just is.
It's just like a Shen. It
It's
does
a Shen,
nothing for
yeah.
you. It helps your It helps your team.
And Hurtis definitely took advantage of that. But looks like Gragas and Zyra here are going to go for an early dragon. The last dragon wasn't taken until after all those kills happened at 10, 11 minutes in game 1. This is being going to go down basically right at 7 minutes. The second round of buffs haven't even spawned yet. Very different plan on the side of Ban for this match.
Yeah, and that was... I feel like part of that was just due to the nature of the lane. In the previous lane, Kai and Styx had the push advantage against the Lucian Zyra. However, in this lane, the Zyra-Xayah combo has had the push this whole time, so they were able to just shove up to tower, and because of that, while Repot was trying to farm the minions under the tower, they were able to go and take a completely uncontested Drake.
We see some pink wards starting to come out on the side of different champions. They also had a very early pink ward for that dragon, so they knew that it was invisible when Red and Mayor showed up there. That they were not seen going towards it. As the like I said, it was pre the second buffs being spawned, and Mayor, not known for his early aggression, pulls off kind of a tricky play. As we see, Hurtis lands a whole bunch of large combo here in the wave, as Galio does not have the best wave clear till he gets a couple levels in compared to Nautilus. Yeah. Until Nautilus has two abilities that just absolutely mow down the waves versus what
Galio's mows down half the wave at a time.
Yep. And Zac has been sitting here. Hopefully he didn't disconnect. He's been sitting there for a good 30 to 40 seconds. Maybe looking to go in onto Gelati, who is running Cleanse this game. Probably the best choice for him to escape those long-range charms into Zac jumps.
Well, it's actually really important because they have the double CC engaged junglers. And that's the level 6 I was expecting. Like, if if Gelati had cleansed the charm right away, he would have been able to get an auto attack off and kill Ninja Blood there. But because he was uncertain of his damage and thought he'd get the kill, he just let it through and let Ninja Blood escape.
And Six and Cross is going to have to flash out of the Zyra ult down in bot lane as just to stay alive. No heal up or heal actually came out on the side of ADC Kai to also help prevent the damage as we see Zac going on in the mid lane knowing that there's no hard CC and he's going to go down into passive form. Teleport coming out from Hertis here to save the Zac. Good response, keeping Zac alive. But kind of a burnt teleport.
Really early.
It was really early, and now, it burns the ult as well. I don't know why would you burn that ult?
Maybe she thought Ninja was closer and could follow up, or maybe that he still had his ultimate. But he didn't, so there was no way for follow up. And this is something I've seen Hertis Leia do a couple times before in Best of Series when she loses the first, is she'll make questionable engages that her teammates can't follow up on because she wants to make a play and she wants to get an advantage because she's still thinking about how she lost that first game. And it's just a negative performance aspect that I see a lot of the times when she's playing.
Well, she's not the only one in that aspect. Everyone wants to make up for what they lost, and sometimes the best idea is just to put whatever happened behind you and focus on the here and now. As we see Gragas coming in for a gank, does have flash up here, but no follow-up because the support is back in base.
Mm-hmm. Something we've kind of been skipping out on this game is talking about the mid lane, which is generally a very key lane in this matchup. Currently, Gelati is 30 farm up on Ninja Blood.
Yeah. Gelati is doing a fairly reasonable job and did, had, like you said, use that ult earlier to just make Ninja go back to base. But Rixay took a full combo of stun and a mantra Q into, Q from the Caitlyn in bot lane and has to return the base. And it seems like these bot lane backs on the side of Rixay and Red here have been layered. They haven't been backing at the same time. And the advantage has gone now on the side of Caitlyn, who now has that CS lead. As Ninja goes in with the ult, misses the charm on Gelati. He sidesteps it.
Did he even cast it?
He did cast it. Gelati was able to just step out of the side. And Ninja misses the second one. Goes for another Q, and Gelati misses that one. But Zac's going to come in here. And with the Galio ult, Gelati is going to go down. But, Galio's on the other team now. And Gelati's going to flash in all with the help of the Gragas finishes off Ari. I had
both summoners used out of the mid lane, both ultimates. It was a questionable engage from Ninja Blood, but Gelati just sidestepped everything thrown at him. He completely dodged the Zac engage.
Mm-hmm.
He both charms straight up missed.
Oh, Big Red is going to get hit by a ton of stuff. Actually gets into the pit, and now flash out from Zac as the Ignite was burned, and Carmen's just going to walk up and hit a nice Q, but then flash in from Gragas, and the pullback of the Feathers is going to get them stun-rooted, but not enough. Zac's going to come in, flash out from the AD carry there, exhaust down onto him, as Gragas has been slammed into the Scuttle Crab by Zac's little slinging arm things. Teleport coming out on the side of Galio. Tuba's going to flash, punch his way in, throw out the Q, going to possibly try to land the taunt in on the somewhat as we have flashes coming out. Snares not enough going to root, and with him teleporting down here in the bot lane, Hertis is going to get a ton of time up in top lane, and she's already up in CS. They're going to have to either go for this tower or for this dragon to make up for the fact that Tuba had to burn teleport.
They're probably going to go for both. Like, they have 4 members here. Gelati is full health and full mana. He can pressure anyone away from them, and especially with both bot laners and the jungler having to recall here. There's no way that Repot has the opportunity to attempt to contest this Drake.
Now, last week, I don't know if you caught all of the semifinal matches that we did, but me and Miner in all the games that we casted got something ridiculous, like a total of...
Oh, Gundam.
Good attempt.
That was an unfortunate attempt.
Unfortunate. He did not. He did go down.
He tried to do the jump over
the wall,
over the back wall as you saw the pings go off.
Yeah.
However, he just misjudged his distance and just fell back into the pit. No flash, no passive. He had his ultimate up, so he could have escaped if he charged it up. But I don't think he was certain he would live long enough to get out of there.
Probably not, as he had 3 members in that pump, and Gelati's going to land a nice stun here, but Karma's just going to walk up and root him, and Ninja Blood lands the full combo this time. Too bad Gelati only has to hit 1 button.
And it's an even trade 1-for-1 in the mid lane, which honestly I think that benefits Ninja Blood more. It benefits Repot because 2 people got kill participation instead of 1. But in addition, Ninja Blood was already behind, and Ninja Blood had already cleared out the wave. So not only does that put more gold into both people's pockets, which actually reduces the difference in gold between the two, Gelati missed out on 2 full waves mid right there. The second wave is crashing into the tower as we speak.
It does look like Mirror Huevos will be collecting most of that experience as we kind of touch it. And there's the Zac. Let's bounce, but Zaya's going to be able to dance out of it, but not dodge the Caitlyn ult, as the top laners are getting in trouble, and it looks like Hertisleus maybe with the hook does kill off them, and down back in the bot lane, Zyra's going to go down. Kills coming, hey, it's 7-4, once again, in the favor. It's, other than the Dragons, this game kind of looks like a repeat of last one, and the kills and the way that the flow seems to be going.
Yeah. After that early game, once Kai was able to save up enough for that BF sword and Ban's bot lane kept doing staggered recalls, he was able to farm back into the game and is now in a respectable position where he almost has his completed Hurricane, and he's 3-0-2 with a 20 farm lead. Oh, he just completed his Hurricane and Berserker Greaves with a 20 farm lead.
There we are. I was just real quick on the Dragons while we get interrupted. We had like 7 Cloud Drakes in like the 5 matches we casted last week in the semifinals, and it was like, oh, it's another Cloud Drake. Oh, hooray! And this has been, so far all oceans.
Oh, oceans. There was 1 Cloud and 1 Infernal in the previous game, and now there's going to be an Earth as our next Drake.
There we are. So it does look like both teams want to be kind of posturing for this this Rift Herald here, as Zac, Karma, and Nautilus have got the jump on it. But here come in Zyra, Syndra, and Gragas here, and Ari with the nice charm is going to just go in onto them. And now Nautilus is here, or sorry, Nautilus was here. Galio trying to get off a taunt and body slam cost. Gelati's going to go down to Ninja in the backline, and the jump comes out from Zac, putting everyone back into the Baron pit here. His damage is going across everyone here. Flash is coming out and body slam over the wall. Mirror Huevos probably wasn't aiming for him, but got him anyway. And it looks like Zyra's going to now try and lay some plant poke over the wall, but here comes the 80 carry, and if she get off the roof, nope. Zac's going to take that one. Nautilus has come over the wall, hooked himself right into the nothing.
That was an interesting attempt by Hertisleia. Flashed over the wall and stood in place. I think what happened is Hertisleia flashed over the wall and then clicked on Mayor of Huevos, and Mayor of Huevos' flash put him out of vision temporarily, just enough that she couldn't get the command off and just stood in place.
Yeah. So Gundam now has the Rift Herald. We'll see how they use that, probably in bot lane, as it looks like Second Cross's Gut's gonna get almost tower dove there. Eats full ult, and Zyra is gonna go down to the tower because Red apparently can't see blue.
Didn't realize he was tanking or was lagging. One of the two.
Something along those lines. We'll blame it on Rito. And it seems this Nautilus is the Galio matchup is just not Tuba's friend. He was not doing the best in the 1v1 on when he was against it, and now he's not particularly doing the best when he's the one playing
either. I think part of it is just due to the fact that his unfamiliarity with Galio, it's kind of shown through in this game, as well as Hertisleia's unfamiliarity with it last game, because sorry, the charm landed in onto Gelati, and with the Q coming across and the Rift Plant being absolutely destroyed, not going to be able to take it down, but a final auto attack comes out from Caitlyn,
And no flash coming out on the side of Tuba. They did not want to finish that engage.
It appears that neither of these top laners are completely familiar with Galio's combat pattern, because they blow all of Galio's abilities, which have rather long cooldowns. And then they're in the middle of the fight and they don't know what they're supposed to do. And then they're like, wait a second, I'm not dealing any damage. I'm losing this trade. And then they back out right as their cooldowns are about to come back up.
Now we have the next mountain come up, as it looks like they're trying to trade in and get the blue buff here. With Mountain Dragon spawning, Gallo is back in top lane. Zach looks to go in onto the support and the jungler and slams them together because he's a baller, and that's going to be a dead support. Ari's going to probably just finish off Mr. Fatman here. Santa Claus, go back to the North Pole. That should be a free dragon.
That should be. Tuba didn't even think about casting his teleport there. Like, his jungler and support were together, which was absolutely fantastic. However, they weren't running around with their sweeper active, so they just got jumped on the second they walked into range of that elastic slingshot charm combo. And they got absolutely decimated because Xayah and Syndra were still walking out of base. Tuba was way in the top lane, and he had no way to get down there in time to save either of their lives. That was just good preemptive planning by Repot.
Now we're at the just after 20-minute mark here. All of the outer towers have been gone. Rift Herald's been taken. 3 dragons have gone down. There's about a 4k gold lead on the side of Repot. Positioning now is key. They're not as far ahead as they were in Game 1, but it looks like they're back in that same aspect of control that they were in Game 1. What do you want to see them do differently than they in this one?
Not let Mayor steal Baron.
Okay.
I mean, right now, pretty much all they're going to do is they're probably going to 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Ari doesn't really have the roam power of a Talia or a teleport mid laner. So she can't exactly afford to leave the mid lane and sit in a side lane like Ninja Blood was in the previous game. And currently it looks like Leia cast and canceled her teleport.
Yeah, there was a engage in mid lane. Mayor flashed, body slammed in. Did get on the Ahri, but when dropped the ult, Ahri was able to ult out of it, so got knocked away. And as a result,
but I didn't even see the teleport start being channeled.
Oh,
and here comes the engage.
Here it comes, as there's the Galio ult going to come in, and Zyra is going to just absolutely try and get a knockup. There's going to be a taunt, and Tuba's trying to go down, and it looks like Galio's going to be brought back into 5 people. He's going to have to flash over, but the pullback of the Feathers is not going to pull anyone in, and Zach's doing too much damage jumping around here. The Feathers aren't doing anything. Caitlyn's the one doing all the damage. Who flashed? What?
And Caitlyn flashed forward to get that 3rd kill onto Gelati. And it looks like they're just going to go for a Baron right after it.
Well, Mayor Huevos isn't alive for this one. There is no ults on the side of Bird Lady or Plant Lady.
On the side of Repot.
You're right. There's none there. We got pings galore going on. Big Red puts a plant in the bush and is now just going to die to autos. Flashes out of the queue. Does not go down there. And
rather unfortunate. If Zach had any more health or maybe even an armor item, they would have been able to tank that Baron and take it really easily.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a great opportunity for them, and unfortunately they did not succeed hard enough in order to take that snowballing advantage.
Now ADC Kai, yet again, putting on a really good, solid performance, you said, on this Caitlyn, being extremely impactful for them. Just absolutely not getting focused at all in these team fights. He's able to just focus in the back. Gelati was able to take out take Ninja out of the fight, basically. But other than that, he didn't do much. And it just seems like there's not a lot of a great engage. Zach can do a great engage. Nautilus with the hook, the ult can be a semi-engage. But Galio has the flash taunt. There's the flash body slam from Gragas. Is this just something, the style, where Ban doesn't like to run a heavy engager?
Ban has the heavy engage in the form of the Syndra stun. It just so happened that they got engaged on because they didn't have adequate vision control. They have, however, been shown to be big fans of the counter engage, which is what they're currently running.
Yes.
Where they want the enemy team to engage and then they respond with the counter engage of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Which it works out if your team doesn't die before you finish casting your counter engage. However, Mayor of Huevos was almost completely 100-0'd before Galio even came in, and then immediately after Galio finished his ultimate channel, ADC Kai finished him off on the backside, and then Gundam Grimgird pulled Galio away from his team, away from Galio's own team and into Zack's team, completely separating the two and not giving Ban a front line with which their back line could safely attack from.
We may be looking for some trouble up here in the top lane. Is Karma is going to fire out the Q, misses the first part, maybe lands the second one
Misses
there.
both parts.
Oh,
That's
Gelati.
unfortunate.
Quick feet. It's gonna
Quick feet. Fancy feet.
Actually, Syndra floats, so levitation.
Fancy mind control.
As we see Zack maybe trying to go up here, not setting up.
This build path out of Gelati is something I've been seeing a lot out of him in particular, but it's pretty common in higher elos to get the early Leandries on the Syndra. However, personally, I'm not a big fan of it in this situation because there is so much magic resist on the side of Repot. Syndra really needs that Deathcap Void Staff as soon as possible, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to burn through the double magic resist items on those tanks, even with double flat spell pen. It's not the percentage spell pen that Void Staff offers.
Mm-hmm. And Charm's going to go out and hit the Galio, and who gets hit into the Nautilus hook in the auto attack, and the Caitlyn ult as well. Galio's been taken down to about half health, and the autos come out. Charm now on Gragas. He's going to go down nearly entirely. Zack's going to go trying to get a bump. Great ult by Zyra, but that's not going to help anyone. Gragas is going to try and come into the back line, but Galio gets back there. There's no one there as everyone else has gone down. That's going to be a dead champion. On the other side, Tuba's going to fall as well. That is a 5 for 0. And they get a free, 30 seconds here? 30 seconds, or I guess 22 seconds on the Zyra. This should be definitely one tower and either Baron or Dragon. They can take their pick. Maybe even the inhibitor tower.
Yeah, they just ran out of minions, so they're probably going to run over to Baron. And that's what it looks like they're going to do, is they're just going to clear out all vision and do Baron before Mayor of Huevos has a chance to run over and smite it away from them.
Now they have, however, 5 seconds.
Ban does know they're doing this.
Yeah, but Mayor Huevos does not have flash this time, but they are bursting down all 5 people, and Caitlyn is absolutely probably shredding this. That's going to go down fairly well.
That's a Baron. 9-0-6 on ADC Kai's Caitlyn.
Oh, jeez.
He's putting out a ridiculous performance, and he is now at 3.5 items. He's finished his double zeal. He's finished his last whisper. No one on Ban's team has a chance of surviving against him.
Not really. No one's going to build any armor either because there's so much AP damage. Zack's going to go in here. We will see. Maybe we'll get into team fight number 2. They're going to get that pulled away. They're going to focus in on Zack. I don't know if that's the best idea because he can ult out. Well, let's see what goes happen. Zaya is going to do a nice ult, and it's actually going to be missed by the ult, but the charm's going to land, and she's going to go down as well. Galio stuck in the pit and is going to be finished off, and now Gelati is going to take a full Nautilus ult to the face, and Root's coming out. That's not going to be enough. Gragas goes down to the Caitlyn, and Ari picks up the ace with Baron buff and an ace. This probably is the game.
I don't think so yet. If you notice, when they went over to take Baron buff, they had all the waves in their favor, but because of how the turrets bounced the waves, after they all recalled after Baron and ran out for that fight, it reset the waves. However, it appears that Ban has decided to surrender the game.
Caitlyn just flashed. Oh, I was like, sorry. Yes. They surrendered. That's why there's a flash. So this is a championship match between Team 1 and Team 2 of the Galactic Division, and this is the second straight game where there was a surrender.
In the first
I haven't
game-
seen 2 surrenders all Vantage season. What? I understand. This is the championship. If you got 2% chance to win, you need to take that 2% chance.
You do,
Personal
however,
opinion.
there's also what these teams are thinking about. This is a best of 3, so it's actually an anti-tilt mechanism.
Okay.
Where if you're going to lose, if you are so far behind, you know that you are either going to lose a game, or you are going. Honestly, in their situation, I saw like a 0.01% chance of ban coming back in that game. So, with essentially no way to win it, it is better to surrender and end the game early than to draw it out and be dealing with those negative emotions of playing in a lost game. So it actually helps your team not tilt as much from losing and move on more easily to the next game.
Definitely understand that. Real quick, just kind of review. ADC Kai absolutely murdered that game. 10-0-7 on that Caitlyn. No one was able to get to the back of him. Was that basically, I mean, how...
I mean, it was due to the fact that Repot got ahead, and Repot was running a double front line, super run at you, engage at you, it was a run at you team fight comp, where if they saw you, they would throw everything at you until you died. So there was no... Because you couldn't kill their front line before whichever one of you got initiated on died, they couldn't burn through the front line to get to the back line, and they didn't have any champions that could really offer a flank to kill that ADC Kai before the fight began.
Mm-hmm. So we will be going into the final game 3 here in just a moment. What are we looking forward in game 3 here?
Well, I believe that ban has side selection again. So I'm hoping that they take blue side and take that first pick Caitlyn. Because by taking that first pick Caitlyn, that is what Kai has been performing on spectacularly both of these games. If they take that away from him, that is a huge thorn in the side of Repot. And it'll throw out their pick ban strategy entirely. And if you look, we are now in pick and ban phase.
You used to be cool.
Ban Rumble has decided to take blue side this game, and their first ban is the Echo. Red side responds with a Lulu ban, and there is an Olaf ban out of blue side. Honestly, the bans might just be the exact same all 3 games.
Yep, that's the way we're looking here. And real quick, we are in the final game of the series, so...
Yep, there we see it. First pick Caitlyn on blue side all 3 games. The first 2 times it was the first pick for Repot Maokai, who had spectacular performances on it in both games. Now let's see if Rixay can live up to the legacy that Kai has shown off in these past 2 games. Let's see if Kai even has a counter pick option to the Caitlyn. Have they been prioritizing it just because Kai's that good on it? Or have they been prioritizing it because Kai doesn't have a backup? Repot Maokai is thinking long and hard. They probably weren't prepared for that Caitlyn first pick. They're hovering Karma, which I'm expecting at this point. Okay, Karma Lucian. It's relatively standard. Styx has been doing just fine on Karma all these games. His performance has not been lackluster, so I don't see a reason for him to switch off of it, especially with it being such a good champion for Big Bad Red as well. after is Zyra. and Lucian is a pseudo counter pick to Caitlyn. Because of the piercing light, and due to how strong Lucian's all-in is, Lucian can actually lane against Caitlyn without too much difficulty, due to the fact that Caitlyn does really poorly in getting all-in and gets heavily out-damaged. So if Caitlyn eats one too many mantra Qs or one too many piercing lights, Lucian Karma will just like run straight at Caitlyn's face and kill her.
Now, there's the Darius. I was expecting Tuba to pull this out like game 1. And they tried to go with the cute Gragas, Gnar, switcheroo. You could try and pick Galio in the Darius. Sometimes it works. Sometimes Darius kills you a bunch of times.
Darius is the anti-melee champ in top lane. You pick him because you want to destroy the opponent. Way back before his rework, Darius was known as the pub stomp champion because he was only good at winning lane and snowballing and was absolutely useless if people had a brain in their heads. However, that has become less of the case as of late. However, he's still incredibly good at winning lane, and he's still incredibly good at snowballing, and he still has a really hard time in team fights because of how easy it is to kite him, especially with a Karma Lucian.
Interesting here that they have Ninja Blood pick the Ahri blinds, knowing that they could have had a counter pick in his favor. I understand the Zac, but Hurtis knows that Darius is going top. She could have had whoever she wanted there.
My guess here would be a little bit of miscommunication and misprioritization. Hurtis Leah is the master of their drafts, and she generally sets up draft plans ahead of time. So when something goes unexpectedly, she's kind of like international TSM. If something unexpected happens, she can't adapt to it that quickly. So she probably didn't have a counter pick prepared immediately for the Darius. So she just picked the Ahri Zac because those are two strong, safe picks that worked well for them last game.
Okay, well, we got Sejuani and Zilean.
That is a rather interesting decision, especially with how heavily nerfed Sejuani has been the past couple patches. Zilean is something that Gelati's pulled out a number of times against this team, just due to Ninja Blood's tendencies to snowball hard off of getting kills in lane.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to jump back to the Sejuani. When the Sejuani rework first came out, she was broken. She was ridiculous. She was incredibly strong. And then they hotfixed her. They nerfed her damage, and they nerfed her mana costs. And then after that, they nerfed her passive. And then they nerfed her passive again. So they've nerfed her passive twice, her damage once, and her mana cost once. So now her early clear's rather mediocre, and she doesn't actually scale up to be useful until around level 13 or 14. Her early game is rather mediocre, and I'm surprised to see it get picked.
Kind of am as well, because that's something that Mayor Huevos, as we saw, he was really favoring the Nunu and the Ivern, and into a Zac.
He's incredible at Ivern.
I think Ivern probably should have been the pick here.
I don't think they wanted to pick the Ivern with a Zilean. Because that's too much support for them and not enough damage. Zilean early game has a lot amount of damage, however he falls off late game because he only has one damaging spell.
Yep, the bombs.
Sejuani scales up in the late game, and her damage and tankiness actually both become absolutely insane in the late game. Level 18, 6-item Sejuani is still a terror to behold, and will absolutely run through your entire team. Especially with a Darius combo, the Sejuani Darius combo. I'm actually expecting Mayor of Huevos to camp top really hard, because it is really easy with the Sejuani passive applying on proccing on Darius autos as well, and Darius having an auto reset. It is really easy for them to just stun lock Shen to death and get Darius super far ahead on that and have him just run through the game.
Yes, that's be definitely looking forward to that. Now, Darius into Shen. It's usually not in Shen's favor, but Shen can survive it, and the new Doran Shield helps with that. That extra sustain against that bleed from Darius. It's all about how good can this matchup be played. And if Darius doesn't get going, eventually Shen can take advantage. But if Darius gets going at all, Shen's going to lose that split push.
Yeah, up until Shen gets about two armor items, I'd say like Tabai, Sunfire Cape, Titanic Hydra. Around then is when Darius really starts falling off against Shen and can't do anything against him.
Mm-hmm. Now, as we finish up, do you want? I mean, this is Game 3, the Galactic Division Finals. You have 1 minute. Break down whatever you want before we jump in.
Okay, so with these, I already predict that Mayor of Huevos will be camping Tuba's Darius. Zillion gets a huge early lane shove and actually has a lot of roam potential, so I expect Gelati to actually be leaving mid lane to get some slightly deeper jungle wards. The Caitlyn Zyra is about as shovey as Xayah Zyra, so they're going to be looking to shove in hard and poke under turret, while Lucian Karma are going to be looking for those overextension engages. I really want to see Gundam Grimgird Zac make an early play down bot lane after Caitlyn and Zyra have shoved like the third or fourth wave when they're just hitting level 3. Zac will be level 4 around then, and then it'll be a really easy gank because Caitlyn Zyra will be pushed up. Lucian Karma will be a level 2, level 3. They'll have most of their damage. They'll just be able to run at them. Zac will show up behind them. They'll be CC'd and they'll just die to Lucian's damage. Shen, I really hope Hertis Leah does go Doran's Shield instead of triple Rejuve beads, because in this matchup, I feel like the Doran's Shield is a lot more necessary. However, that's a choice we'll have to see when we get into
the game. I definitely would be the Doran Shield favor in this matchup. I just want to give a shout out first to Riot Games. Silver Scrapes Championship final game played during the entire Champion Select. Riot is a great company. Not only do they produce a substantially awesome video game, and their music department is great, but they allow you to use their stuff pretty much for free as long as you just say, hey, we did it.
We did it, and Riot Games let us.
Yes. So, as we're jumping in here, this is Game 3, Galactic Division Finals. On the side, number 1 seed. They're going to be the blue team in the first game. Please ban Rumble. We're going to have Tuba up top on Darius, Mayor Huevos on the jungle, and Sejuani. Gelati playing Zillion in the mid lane. Rixie playing the Caitlyn in ADC. And Big Bad Red playing Zyra as support. On the side of Please Repop Maokai, we have Hertis Leah playing Shen in the top lane, Gundam Grimgird playing Zac in the jungle, Ninja Blood 2 on RE mid, ADC Kai playing ADC Lucian, and Styx and Cross back on Karma. The supports, they should know each other by now, because this is the third straight match Karma Zyra bot lane.
Yep.
And
however, there's one thing different this time.
They swapped AD carries.
Zyra is not facing the Caitlyn.
Yes. And Caitlyn Zyra, that's so much poke and damage.
I'm so sad. There's a lack of synergy. Road King Darius is the blue Darius skin. All of his spell effects are blue. His screen flashes blue when you get 5 stacks. And they had to pick the one Sejuani skin that doesn't have blue spell effects.
That doesn't have blue spell effects? Oh, jeez.
The only Sejuani skin that has different color particle effects. Every other skin is blue.
Well,
and same with Gelati. Gelati picked the red skin instead of the yellow and blue skin.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Bad Red is going with the green skin. That matches none of them.
In Gundam, using the plain old Zac skin, you can be any Zac color you want, and you go green, disappointed.
I'm pretty sure that's all he has.
That probably is all he has.
My honest guess is he picked up Zach when he became OP about a week and a half ago and hasn't played him before then.
That's fine. And Caitlyn with the first blood of abilities. Damage lands the Q through the Karma. So the boar was dancing in mid lane, and Zach is the statue. The most basic, least aggressive start we've seen from any of these teams. Although Sejuani's getting a start at red buff. And
yeah, that's pretty common, especially with how mediocre Sejuani's early clear has become. To get a leash at red buff instead of at raids. Sejuani used to be able to do raptors into red pretty easily, but with how high her mana is early and how low her damage is early, she can't do the exact same pathing anymore. She needs some form of sustain.
Oh, these top laners are just duking it out, and that's what I like to see. And they're going to go for first blood. Both of them flashes up. Oh, Tuba. Whoa. Oh, that's going to tilt Hurtis. That first blood, level 1. She's only burnt 1 pot. She only got 2 minions. Teleporting back in.
That was really greedy to not flash, like, right as his auto attack was coming back up. She should have figured out through all of those, through that trading, his auto attack reset cooldown timer. So she should have known that he would have flash autoed right when it came back up. That's something he's been known to do on a number of champions, whether it's Darius or a level 6 Renekton tower dive. He's going to do it. So you have to give him the respect to flash because he knows his damage.
Mm-hmm.
Darius is one of his most played in ranked. So he definitely knows how much it's going to deal. So you have to be prepared for it.
And Lucian's going to dash in and flash out from Rixey as Zach with an excellent jump. Gank, as you said, did look for that early gank bot lane. Hasn't even picked up blue buff yet, only level 3. Does get 1 flash. Maybe we'll see him return in a couple of minutes.
That'd be great, because Burning Flash is only halfway to fruition. Because Lucian has the pressure advantage, has a 3 farm advantage, but it's not enough. They're not actively scared of the Karma Lucian lane yet. They want Lucian to be up in items, because as you actually saw in the first game, Lucian with Cutlass is less than Caitlyn with BF Sword.
Yeah, but Karma is landing a great root into the mantra Q there. Allows her to, just chunk Caitlyn out, having to make her use her pod. Zyra's not being able to return the damage as much as I think they've finally gotten used to dodging the plants. Because it's 3rd game in a row, you see something, you're going to get used to it.
You'd think that, but they haven't been dodging those Qs nearly as much from Karma.
Yeah. We see Sejuani and Zach basically exactly even, except for Zach did a gank. And flash out from Hurtis this time as she's going to dodge the pull-in from Tuba in the top lane. And he's definitely going to have control of this. We see Sejuani going for a gank here. Flashes in. Does not. Looks like one more auto attack. There's the sun on the Lucian. And Flash comes out from the Zyra as well. Not enough range to get the root. And heal and flash belt. Blah, 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 blah. It's been a long day.
He did not need to burn Flash there.
Yeah.
That was kind of excessive. I think he was expecting that auto attack from Caitlyn to be a random crit and a headshot when he saw that there was no headshot animation or crit animation. Because he would have had at least 90 health after that auto went through if he didn't heal.
So the laners back in bot lane, everything burnt except for the heal from Rixey and the exhaust on the Zyra versus Styx and Cross has all of his sums up. Gelati's been landing some nice bombs on Ninja's head here as he had used teleport to get back to lane after I think he ate a charm and had to picked up that second Doran's ring and some wards and pots. Shen's teleport
for it, so he missed practically nothing.
Yep. And there we see the root coming out, and there's you know, this bot lane's been pinged a couple of times from help from Zach to show up again, but Zach has yet to back. Has done a second full clear of his jungle before picking up any items. I'm not a jungler, but I think you usually want to go back before then, right?
Back before patch 7.8, I want to say it was. Ever since season 4, carry junglers have essentially been what is strong in solo queue. So players like Gundam and like myself are used to just farming until you're super strong, because that farming.
Sorry, Gelati with the great flashes. Oh, gonna get able, but nope. Pops the ult, as so did Ari. Try and get in there. Not worth burning the rest of her mana and abilities when he's gonna come back alive.
As I was saying, for the past 3 seasons, carry junglers, which are heavily reliant on jungle farm and power farming, have been the most efficient way to climb in solo queue. However, in a setting such as this, you want, and as of more recently, like ever since patch 7.8 about, ganking junglers have been more heavily in favor, and it's actually been more efficient to receive gold and experience from ganking than it has been from farming, due to the reduction of experience on jungle camps and the addition of catch-up experience, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So what Gundam is doing right now, actually, with that double full clear, is the old farming jungler pathing. He wants to get those items, he wants to get those levels, so that he is stronger than the other jungler, and so that he's stronger than the enemy laners, so he can gank them and he can kill them due to essentially a raw numbers advantage. It still works, but it's nowhere near as efficient as it used to be. And it's a style he's been shown to display throughout this entire Vantage season, and I'm actually not in these games, but I'm surprised he hasn't been punished that much in other games. In these games, Mayor of Huevos has been picking a more tank jungler oriented defensive farming that hasn't really been able to punish it. His punishing capabilities should have been defined by the fact that there's a fight in the top lane.
There is, and it looks like we're going to have double flashes. Flash comes in by Shen. It looks like the W is going to be great proc as Flash out by Tuba is going to go down to the Zac auto there, and Mayor Huevos is not going to get out of this one. Flash is not enough speed up from the little scuttle crab there. Zac jump is going to be super impressive. Interesting that the first time that we see the junglers top in 3 games, by the way. Double kills go on the side of Gundam and Hurtis.
Yeah, that was interestingly played. Hurtis's flash taunt did actually end up hitting one, I believe it was Mayor of Huevos, and not Tuba. However, thanks to Shen's fantastic W that blocks all auto attacks, Sejuani wasn't able to stack up her passive until after Tuba had already died. So she wasn't able to. Her primary source of damage with this new rework Sejuani is after the stun, you can essentially hit the stun to deal bonus damage.
Karma's going in for a wraparound gank, so to cut you off with the Shen ult as well, and that's going to be a taunt onto the AD carry. He's going to be able to block all of that damage. Zyra had dropped the ult to stop the Zac from coming in, and she's not going to be able to escape this one. Lucian and Karma have dash and speed up abilities.
Sticks, what were you doing?
Stealing. He's a pirate, man.
He should have just given the speed up to Kai. Kai's hard carried both of the last 2 games.
He plays Gangplank.
But
I know.
It's
like my jokes. So with that double kill in bot lane, that's should be a free dragon here as Ari's getting pushing in and onto the Zillion here. Zillion has been hurting Ari when he lands the double bombs, but hasn't hit one recently until as soon as I jinx Ninja Blood, who has to ult and flash away from Darius and gets stunned up by the Sejuani. Hands it to Tuba, who's run down here. Shen cannot follow. Zach is just gonna go into his ult, pulls them towards his teammates in blue buff. Not sure why he did that, and is now running around. Tuba's going to get probably another kill here if they want to hand it over to the Fed Juggernaut. No, they're gonna give it to Rixie because he needs some loving too. Although he is up like 30 CS at 11 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that tends to happen.
And Tuba still teleports up the top lane. And Shen absolutely is going to slaughter him. Oh, jeez. First tower. Oh, that was a terrible decision by Tuba. I'm sorry, man.
Rather unfortunate. He probably misjudged Shen's sticking capabilities there.
Yeah, with the Ninja Tabi and the Nami Cinder, that extra, even though the burn damage on it is down. Caitlyn does get the first brick gold, so they're down in kills. They were down a Mountain Dragon, but with the first tower and the first blood that they got, they are up, just over 1K, which is surprising because usually Repot has been the team in control of the early games.
And that actually bodes really well for Ban, because Ban is currently trying to scale. Their mid game's a rather mediocre point as a team, so they want to get into and out of that mid game stage as quick as possible.
That's why Caitlyn's in top lane.
Exactly. Well, Caitlyn has a lot of wave clear. They took the first tower bot.
Oh.
They know that Shen has absolutely no wave clear, so by sending Zyra Caitlyn top, Shen can't kill the Caitlyn because the Zyra's there, and Shen can't clear the wave because it's a Shen.
Yep.
So Caitlyn can just walk up and...
jeez. Double 30 headshot procs on the Shen before the W got dropped. And Zach's going to walk over wards, so no gank coming out there. Darius was able to make the bot laners back because they ran out of minions. Probably going to have to go top here to help defend this tower and send Shen the bot lane. Zillion's up here now. With the speed up, they're going to try and mow down this tower as fast as possible while Sejuani covers mid lane. Zach's going to come in here with the jump, and Zyra ult comes out as well. Stun onto the Shen is not going to be enough. Zillion was the one who took it, and arm slams from the Zach. Zach has no help here. No. Gundam gets double bombed on his head, and here comes Ari and Karma. Let's see if they go in there. Zach with the jump. There's the Ari. Ult and Flash comes out, and Ari's going to hit the charm on the plants, but doesn't going to be enough as Caitlyn's going to go back in for some auto poke damage. Lucian's here to clear out the wave. Double bombs on that lane. All the while, Tuba has taken more than half the damage on the bot lane tier 2 as we look back in as Sejuani and Karma are going to go back in on this as Ari misses the charm. Is he going to take it? He is! That's tower number 2.
Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed with this Ari pick. It wasn't showing greatly in the previous game, and Ninja just has not been able to land a charm throughout either of these games. I think I saw him land maybe 2 or 3 throughout the entirety of...
Sorry, Shen has to blow the ult to try and save Zach in his own jungle, who wasn't paying attention to where Darius was, but Darius dunk masters the green blob into the ground. I'm running out of jokes, and they're getting even worse as we go longer and longer, and now it's Rift Herald time, and there's only one tier 1 left. I wonder where that Rift Herald's going.
Ninja has to stay in the mid lane because he's their only true form of wave clear. Lucian has a lot of decent offensive wave clear, but due to his short range, his defensive wave clear is rather mediocre unless he's using the culling.
Caitlyn,
so I think
Caitlyn stole it. What a dirty 80 carry.
Yeah, Caitlyn's ridiculous, and Caitlyn's kind of been the focal point of the series.
It has. I'm pretty sure I saw Badger in the chat. Badger must be proud, knowing that Caitlyn was first picked in 3 straight games, and has basically been the emphasis of taking towers and
winning lane, honestly.
Yeah, winning CS, winning the damage, and now with the Rift Herald, Ari's not going to be able to leave this lane. Tuba can go wherever he wants right now. He has Black Cleaver. He has Executioner's Calling to stop any healing from Shen, Zac, Ari, Lucian that happens. You know, Ban Rumble is showing a completely different game than they showed in Games 1 and Game 2, and they're looking extremely strong.
What I find rather interesting is they are using Repop Maokai's favorite strategy against them. They are running a 1-3-1 right now.
Tuba's like, I don't care, I'm going to fight two people and dunks one and eats a calling to the face as Riftail flashes in with the Q and dunks two! That's going to go down. We're going to swap to mid lane here as we're going to watch the Bug charge in and take that tower down to a quarter health. And there's the Zyra ult. That's going to be a dead Ari. Zac's looking to jump in here onto the Rift Herald. Maybe he didn't smite it. Gundam, you can smite the Rift Herald, buddy. This now is going to get a second charge, and with Caitlyn here, Tuba in the top lane, Zillion dealing with Shen in bot lane, and
oh no,
that's a trap. That's probably going to be dead. Oh no, Rixay stepped on, taking all the tower damage, and Zac gets the ult, wakes out, and charge away his Mayor, but he's going to go down. There's the Rift Herald. Execution is... What is happening? I thought these were Diamond and Plat players. This long siege and double games here must be getting to them just as it's like getting to my voice.
Probably didn't realize that attacking the blobs, because the blobs count as minions. You can smite them. You can do stuff to them that you can't do to champions, and most of the target champion abilities don't work on blobs. However, it still counts as a champion when it comes to turret aggro. So Rixay probably forgot that and thought, oh, I'm just attacking these things that are coded as minions. But they're coded as minions that give you tower aggro.
Tuba was able to take down yet another Tier 2, so I think Tuba is responsible for 3 Tier 2 towers in a game where there's a Caitlyn.
That is true. Caitlyn just pushes the wave to distract the enemy team while Tuba does the dirty work.
We have an Infernal Drake, and we have 10 champions all on the bottom half of the map, and Darius is teleporting in. We may be going in for a 5, as Shen's blocking up some of that poke damage over from the wall as Zyra, and Tuba does not have flash. Double bombs on 4 people into a Q from this is absolutely just one dunk. There's one bomb going off as well, and this looks like absolute wreck as the 80 carries are going down. Zillion used the ult on himself and does not fall. Zac and Karma are running for their lives. This is going to be Dragon, and this has been the most dominant performance we've seen so far in the series.
Yeah, I honestly
Rixay flashing into the net, and headshot takes out Zac, who is greedy trying to get blue buff. Oh my! So what happens?
Well, there's a 9k goal lead because Gelati's Zillion is a force to be reckoned with. Ban Rumble had the winning bot lane, and they were able to keep winning after they left lane. Like, after they took that first tower, they didn't lose lane. Like, they didn't stagger their backs like in Game 2, which gave up their entire lane dominance. In Game 1, they just lost lane. In Game 2, they lost their dominance due to staggered backs. They didn't do either of those things this game. They had a winning lane. They didn't mess up their backs. They took a tower, they recalled together, they took another tower, they recalled together, and they went mid, and they've just been sitting mid ever since, doing wave clear and poking people. And it's working.
Well, it also helps when Tuba gets on Darius in his performance like this. Zac's going to go with the Let's Bounce and brings the Sejuani in, who had stunned people, and there's the Zyra ult to get some counter. Caitlyn ult just for more harass, it looks like, as we got split push Zillion going on in the top lane, who does have teleport. And Tuba's been an absolute monster this game as well, as Ari's going to get over the wall with the charm in on the Caitlyn, but no follow-up from the team, not knowing where the Sejuani was. Zyra was right there, but already burnt ult. Just didn't go for the kills. Not enough items.
Yeah, and as you can see, like, their top and mid inhib towers are already being threatened, and it's only 20 minutes into the game. They have no outer base towers left. Honestly, I don't think there's really much for Ban Rumble to do right now aside from a Baron bait.
Okay, so how good can they turtle?
I mean, fairly well. I think it'll take probably 7 waves on a side lane for any significant damage to be done, assuming they rotate quick enough.
Well, Gelati is burning his life for this, but it looks like Lucian's getting to get the full grasp here, and almost double bombed as we see in lane. Tuba is going in at the tower. Hurtis is trying to protect it with her life. With the W, in comes the Zac, gets in onto the Caitlyn, and with the snare misses, and Sejuani's going to go down trying to protect. Zac, you took him the wrong way. You want to go into your team. Ari gets in back in there, but Tuba's here as well. Damage to the Shen shield, super strong because that new passive, the way that it works, in extra shielding when they're lower health, but the bombs finish off Ari. Double bomb's going to stop this here. Both junglers are dead. No objectives can really be taken but I guess, never mind. I forgot that looks like, Ban Rumble has got all of their towers standing. This is currently a 6-0 in towers, and that's probably where almost all of that 8K gold lead is.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, that fight was one of the best you could have expected to come out of Repop Maokai there. They're just so far behind, they got to pick under tower, and then they were able to jump onto the Caitlyn with their Zac and shut her out. And then Shen was able to save Ari long enough to get a third kill, and it ended up being a 3-for-2 in favor of Repop Maokai, which, that doesn't sound too great, but when you're as far behind as they are, that's absolutely fantastic. Like, getting any kills at all, even if they're even trades at this point, as long as you don't lose a tower for it, is absolutely fantastic because it's gold in your pockets. It doesn't matter that it's gold in their pockets too, because there's no way that they're going to be earning more gold than you from even trades.
Now we have Dragon in 1 minute and 45 seconds here as we have a pause coming out. I can't move because of the pause. I don't know what Dragon is. It may or may not be Infernal. The replay stuff always has the Infernal picture. Just a heads up. Always has an Infernal picture on the replay. So, or when you're spectating, I mean, sorry. So it always So Dragon probably in a relatively easy, should be relatively easy objective for Ban to take, because they have a lot of distance that Repot has to cover to get there, and they should probably be focusing on making sure Baron doesn't get taken. But
pretty much,
we're looking for magical Gundam Steel on Baron.
That's a possibility. However, every time there's been a straight smite fight between Gundam and Mayer's won. So going for a smite fight is something you'll probably have to take, but based on that track record, it becomes questionable as to whether or not you even want to do it. However, when you're in this position with two of your inhibitor towers at half health, you don't really have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
What it really comes down to is a question of what dragon is it. If it's Infernal, you really need to fight for it, because giving up 2 Infernal Drakes against like a Zyra, Caitlyn, Zillion is insane. Like, there's no way you can handle against that. They'll just destroy you in every fight, and you don't have the damage or the tankiness to survive against it, to turn any kills back. And even if you do, Zillion has an ultimate.
Yeah, Zillion's been busy keeping himself alive in this match so far. That being said, look at Tuba's build right now. He has Black Cleaver and Deadman's. He's almost finished a complete Spirit Visage. He has the Executioner's Calling and Merc Treads. Now look at Shen's. Sunfire, Spectral Scowl, Tabby. I mean, the 50 CS and the kills obviously are, the 3 extra kills are really playing into that. But it's the 6 towers. The 6 towers are probably legitimately the difference in like the Spectral Cowl or the Kindle Gem and the Executioner's Calling.
And the 200 gold between Sunfire and Cleaver.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja seems to be having some connection problems here as we keep going on. But there is one person that is winning in gold, and that's Zac by 100.
Because he's been farming.
Because he's been farming up a storm. And his ganks, when he has been there, have been productive. And his ultimate, he's gotten people in his ult in both games so far. It's actually been pretty nice to see. The one time he took him the wrong way, but they still killed him. He's been...
That was intentional.
Take him away from the low members on his team?
No, it was intentional because it allowed him to bounce right on top of the Caitlyn to kill her.
Ah, okay. There we go. The smarter plays than me going on there. But the farm, other than that, Zach has gone much in favor in the side of Ban here. We're at 22 minutes. Is there? I mean, there's obviously a point where gold and stuff isn't going to matter. Can Repot hold off till like 40-ish, 45 minutes until Zillion, drops because he's only then a stun bot or like a stun and ulti bot, and Darius' damage falls off because Shen and Zach have gotten too tanky. I guess, but the problem then is Caitlyn probably out damages Lucian.
Yeah, I think what we're looking for is Lucian to finish his cleaver, Zach to get an armor item, and Ahri to finish her Luden's Echo. At that point, they should be looking to fight. Because if they can't fight at that point with those item power spikes, there's probably no way they're ever going to be able to win a fight.
Okay, as the pause comes back in, now just touch base on, Caitlyn has picked up a QSS before running down this lane. Talk about how impactful that is going to be to the charms and the taunts. As we sticks and cross, gets absolutely rooted by plants and double bombs, and the Zyra ult burnt for no reason. Shen back at base, didn't even get a chance to ult.
Yeah, that's actually kind of curious if Hertis Leah was saving that for someone more valuable, or if there just wasn't the communication to send it out. Because Karma is...
Oh, triple person bomb, and Zach has to jump in to stop the damage being pulled. There's a pull from Tuba. He's going to straight in tank, and Mayor Huevos is going to absolutely obliterate on the side, but the bombs coming out from Gelati are take down Ahri. Double bombs not enough. Tuba is fighting with no one on his team, as Gelati is now taking the tower to help get someone into the backline with him, but he doesn't matter. He's healing it all. Double bombs gets another stun, and double kill for Caitlyn. Zillion finishes off that one. The carries did their job. Tuba so far ahead with the additional healing. There's the final ace. Zyra brings the minions up the wave. They should be getting an inhibitor. Can they get Baron?
That's probably Baron. Yeah, it's really questionable. Like, going for Baron with death timers this low is questionable. However, actually, I'm not sure if they have any. They do have a control ward in the pit. So I don't think Gundam's ever going to be able to get vision. So I think this is actually a really safe Baron. And if Gundam is able to go for a steal, which it looks like they're taking it too fast for it to be possible. Yeah. Now Gundam and Kai needed to have been sprinting to that Drake the second they respawn.
Instead, he's stepping on traps.
They don't want to deal with the siege on an objective that isn't there. They missed their opportunity to grab that Infernal Drake and have a comeback opportunity. Because by not grabbing that, they are straight up handing it over to Ban Rumble. They're going to grab it. They have a humongous triple wave stacked up bot. They're just going to take Drake and then ride that super wave all the way into the enemy base, where it will meet up with the super minion wave from the mid lane, and then they'll be able to either just force the fight, which is what I've seen them do a lot when they're in positions like this, is just dive under tower and get huge fights. Is they'll probably just either dive the inhibitor tower, ace them, and end the game, or they'll end up diving the Nexus towers.
Tuba steals red as well, and that's a cannon minion there. That, as you said, 3 waves here, only 1 cannon in the 3, but that should be near the end of that. That's so much damage going on in a bit. 25 minutes. The culling from ADC Kai can't even take out the melee minions, and there was only 5 of them.
And here we just see Tuba completely ignoring the Shen. Like, Shen doesn't have an offensive item. He has no way to damage the Darius.
Zach had to go in to try and get as much damage, but the Zyra ult zoned off the rest of the team. There's the Caitlyn ult, and Shen does drop down to Tuba, and that's one inhibitor tower taken. There's one inhibitor. There's this
That's
third
probably
inhibitor.
game right there.
That
They
should
have
be
Baron on
game.
super minions in the mid lane.
Yep. And with the finish off, and Ninja Blood going in one last time, trying to get a finish off, and Caitlyn had some armor and damage in the double kill coming out on the side of Rixay. That was the game 3, and we have our champions of the Galactic Division. Please ban
Congratulations to Please
Rumble.
Ban Rumble.
Okay. Break that game down. You said it a little bit earlier, and I just want a quick touch base on that. That Ban Rumble used Repot's normal strategy against them with the Caitlyn and the aggressive, 1-3-1, that type of stuff.
So, how this looked coming out of draft was bot lane was going to be a lot of fighting, and whichever team got a lead in the bot lane would be able to run through the enemy bot lane. I wanted to see Gundam spend a lot of his resources there, and that wasn't... He went there once and got Caitlyn's flash and nothing else, but then he didn't show up again. Instead, Mayor of Huevos made an appearance down bot lane and turned it back around, giving Big Bad Red and Rixie a lot of summoners burnt and even a kill in the bot lane, returning them all the pressure that they had lost from the previous gank and then some. Top lane was a very standard Darius versus Shen matchup. Darius was allowed to free farm the entire game and pressured Shen out of a lot of CS. However, in the mid game, Tuba showed his mastery of the champion when he was able to split push and even get 2 kills for free in a 2v1 matchup at the top lane tier 2 tower. The mid lane was essentially just a farm lane. However, Ninja Blood, when he went for those fights in the mid lane, Gelati was able to sustain through them due to his mobility, crowd control, and survivability of his ult. So, Please Repop Maokai was not able to gain advantages the way they generally do in order to win this game. And then later on, they didn't have a way to match the 1-3-1 of Ban Rumble, which just shoved them all the way into their base, starved them out of gold, and then just won through having more items.
And more buffs. So, upon requested by the Twitch chat, which is basically the only thing they've requested all game, other than they want to know who I am, because I'm great, we have the winners of the Galactic Division. Please ban Rumble. Say hello, guys.
What up?
How you doing?
So, we're going to start off, and we're just going to quick do a rundown so people know your voices here. Say your name and your role, and...
Top to support.
Top to support.
Well, Tuba actually had to go to bed, so Tuba was the top laner. He had to go to bed. He's listening, but he had to get going to bed. So
Super.
I'm Gelati. I played mid.
Mayor of Huevos, I jungled.
Rixie, I 80 carry.
Big Bad Red, I support.
So, as congratulations, and as we kind of touch base on here, first, we'll just talk about the season as a whole real quick. How much did you guys enjoy it? You were the number 1 seed going into the playoffs from the regular season. But the teamwork and synergy, how did it start? How did we get to where we are today?
You guys want to take this? Anybody want to take that?
You got it.
Gelati stole me from another team and told me to come.
You gonna pull this up again? Come on, man.
Okay.
I think I know for us. I know besides Red, the 4 of us, myself, Tuba, Mayor Huevos, and Rixie, have been playing together for like a long time, just on like different teams, basically just filling a different support every time. So we had a lot of synergy, a lot of our champion pools aligned, and a lot of like experience playing these kind of things going into this. So it wasn't that far into us, and we just like brought Red into the fold.
Angela, you told me the strategy for this was something you tried to do, right? pick one tricks or something
No,
that
it
would be
wasn't.
very
So
difficult?
we kind of had this idea, not just to have like good players, but like we wanted to have enough threats for like. I mean, we have a couple people that are like specialist champions. Tuba plays a lot of stuff. I play a lot of weird stuff that gets banned. If you have too many things to target ban, it really makes it difficult for teams in the draft. So going into the season, I was like, okay, like that's a good way to approach this. I think if you just put if you put all the pressure on them in the draft, we're always going to get a power pick. Like we had enough champions that no matter what happened, we were always going to get one of our power picks. So.
And speaking of power picks, this season, or this season's finals anyway, the power pick was red. You got your Zyra every single game. And the real power pick in the drafting phase, touch a little bit about, was the Caitlyn. The first picking Caitlyn and the importance of that. So bot lane, how talk about kind of the games 1, 2, and 3, and the importance of the Zyra and the Caitlyn, and how that matched up against the Karma, which is always being picked on the other side.
Well, red is a good Zyra. I'd rather have him on that than anything else. Laning with the red, at least, like he's best when he has pressure and he can damage and outtrade. And honestly, he probably just carries me through lane and I just get the farm. But the Caitlyn was kind of important because Lady Carry Kai was very good on it, obviously, and the champion is also just plain broken right now. All the item changes, cheap build, and all that. So she's also fits in every comp really well, and yeah, I think she's just really.
Yep. The Karma pick for Styx was a good pick against Zyra. It gave them some ability to not just die in lane so they could trade with us. That was actually the first game I've ever lost Zyra in Vantage League.
Yeah, how many times? Probably dozens of games, right? Probably like 23-1 or something like that. Like,
wow.
It got banned a lot before.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of shift our thought process to the hero of game 1, the jungle Gragas. You talk about pick ban some more. You showed the Gragas. I know Tuba's played that in the top lane. Was it something was always going to be planned to go jungle for you, or were you definitely looking to flex that? And then talk about the Baron steal after that.
I mean, we picked it initially as a flex pick. But as the team comp started to come to fruition, we realized it to be jungle. Last season I played so much Gragas, it's just ingrained in my head how to play that champion. And I mean, basically the Baron steal just came down to the fact my barrel hit knocked the other jungle away, so he wasn't in smite range, and my auto attack brought it in smite range.
There you go. So Kiro said that you've had some smite battles before, and you seem to have done a better job in this aspect when going up, at least against Gundam anyway. What is the advantage, or what's your thought process on how to steal those buffs?
His name is not Saint Vicious.
Okay.
Prince of Thieves.
Okay, well, yeah, so there we go. Not Saint Vicious. No.
Really, it just comes down to knowing how much damage you can do and how quickly you can do it. You want to layer your abilities with you engaging on them and smiting.
Now, we'll roll it back here in the mid lane before we kind of wrap it up. Gelati Ninja is known for his aggressive style, and the early trading that went on between Vladimir and Cassiopeia in game 1 was drew the attraction of the junglers to make sure that their mid laner was successful, and Vladimir seemed to be getting the better of that until the Baron steal. But then in game 2, the Ahri, you seem to you seem to just slightly sidestep every charm that was thrown. We watched a bunch of them where it looked like it was going to be just on point, and you just be able to just drift to the side. What's your theory on how to properly dodge skill shots?
You gotta keep your mouse clicks close to your character and always be moving. That game was more in that game specifically. I know they ended up winning it and everything, but for Lane specifically in that game, it was more a matter of since he was throwing Qs and missing, I was able to get a freeze on him, and he wasn't able to. Like, he was going to have to expend a lot of mana to get the minions to the tower. So if you saw, like, I was keeping them wave just off the tower for really, really long extended periods of time, and he wasn't getting any help from the jungle to push, and he was having to spend a lot of mana to do so, which gives me a lot of priority. So, yeah, just keep your mouse close to your character and move a lot. And sometimes you dodge, and sometimes you're bad. Forgiven would say other things.
So I know it's getting late for especially those East Coasters here. We'll just kind of wrap it up. You've won the season. You're the champions. Now hopefully we'll be seeing you next season. And just anything else you guys want to touch on the season, the match. What do you want to look forward to? I know I want to see more Gelati versus Hurtis teams in the future myself.
It was a good time. Always a great time. Hopefully it inspires everybody else to step up the game, and everybody gets better, and we want to get more people involved, and more people involved and better people involved makes everybody better. So, you guys got anything?
No, I mean, this is definitely the best thing since they got rid of ranked 5s, so thank God it's here.
Real.
I hate this game unless it's like ranked 5s, so.
Yeah, the team aspect is definitely a great aspect that is a lot of people can sometimes miss out on because of they're so focused on their own personal solo queue. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we'll let Kiro Shiran finish it up?
Congrats to everybody else who's won or in playoffs, and everybody that didn't. Better luck next time, and hope to see everybody back. I know there's still a bunch of matches to go still, right? I think, were we the first final?
Yes, you were the first final.
Yeah.
The the Supernova division had a semifinals played tonight. Look forward to the VOD coming out sometime later this week. Hopefully that semifinals, and so the finals of that will be to be determined still. The Helios division standings, I believe, or the semis are both completed, but apparently the patch had some errors when corrupted the VOD files. Or at least I know of one of the matches no one could get them because of the patch. And I know the Stellar Division finals is coming up I'm pretty sure later this week as well. So we got finals going in every division. I'm really looking forward to all the other teams, the other sides, and seeing a bunch of different champs. I love seeing people play their one tricks and bringing out interesting stuff like the Zillion mid and the Zac jungle after the rework.
And best of luck to all the teams going into other finals.
Yeah, man.
Go Morning Scotch.
Okay, and Kira Sheeran, I want to first personally thank you for joining me this evening for the extended cast and listening to my terrible jokes firsthand, and giving us the knowledge that we need to improve ourselves in our own gameplay.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Do you want to leave any final remarks here before we'll do the final sign-off?
Keep learning and keep improving. Always makes the game better to play better.
And so with that, we
just want to take a second and interrupt you, at the end as you close the cast, as rudely as possible, just to thank you guys for casting, because if people don't realize, like, the casting gig, it's like, this is like all volunteer. It's just like something people do because they like doing it, so give the casters a round of applause, because, yeah, cliche. Deal with it, guy. Thank you, for real though, guys. Thank you a lot.
It's been our pleasure tonight to host this great 3-game series. VODs the Twitch VOD will probably. I'm going to make that tonight here real quick. Once we end that, and that will go up on the Twitch and the Slack. With that being the end of this season for the Galactic Division, I know Chase has announced that preliminary signups are already out to get in for next season Advantage. Looks like it's going to start that second full week of June, I believe, is their goal. So get your buddies, get your friends, get your gals, get the teams going, bring in a lot more people. Definitely look for the other divisions. Don't only support the teams and players in your division, definitely go out and support the teams and players in other divisions. Everyone's worked hard all season, up and down the board. There's been tons of people learning and growth and improvement. I've seen just even in other divisions, people starting out in bronze and ending up in high silver, even low gold by the end of one of these seasons. So definitely looking forward to continuing this. So look for Chase's information on more of that to come. And this has been Kiyoshirin and the AMO, and we will be sending it off here. We played some Silver Scrapes as a result of going to 3 games and it being our final game. So we will, you know what, we're just going to end it with, I don't know, how about some Lucidity? Because Gelati had Boots of Lucidity in the final game. Jokes are bad, people.
Keep it a thematic. I like it. Have a good night, guys.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.